The Tape Never Lies Network.
The tape never lies. Tape never lies.
Starts now.
The tape.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Here we go. Trading up.
100.
Yes!
What?
Here it is! Or just recording.
The tape never lies.
The people drop off, but we still keep rocking.
You'll never know how good your football team's going to be until you play with maximum effort.
Keeping it 100.
Open competition over the North and never give it back.
Smartest man.
My Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man in Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keeping it 100, never running east to west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the freaking anchor, forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shane's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shane got some haters. But now them out stuck like the two and now and later. Debaters, frauds get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added the barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sacks scrolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shane. What we do when we're breaking down the Bears. Fuck a play or a captain, all of the unchairs. The tape never lies. The truth, you see, we laugh, we analyze, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a stat nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like Trick Sat. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man and Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we're keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Justin Fields gets outside the pocket, puts that ball perfectly where only Mooney can get it. 1
Keeping it 100.
2 feet.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Tape never lies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, 2023 football season is here. It kicks off tomorrow, and what better way to kick it off with my girl, Courtney Cronin from ESPN, joining us tonight to talk about it. So we got a fun night. We got a good show for y'all tonight. And without further ado, let me bring in the guys that y'all really came to see. We're going to bring in the smartest man. Hey, Shane.
Hey. Single and ready to mingle, Cherie.
Shut up.
Let's go.
And Draft Dr. Phil, my boy DDP. Oh, my God.
Oh, my own.
What's up, guys?
What's up? This is it. We're on the precipice. Cherie nailed it. Nailed it.
That's what I do.
Yes. That was great stuff, Cherie. Perfect timing on the. What did Rihanna say? On the what? On the replay? What did she say? What's that?
On the
song?
replay?
Yeah. On the replay. Anyway,
We don't want to
great
copyright
job
there, bro.
mailing the yo tonight.
There it
Look at
is.
that. There was the yo right on it.
Phil
Last
almost
week we
was
nailed
perfect hitting the post there.
That's exactly. I'm going to be hitting the post, well, hopefully this Sunday.
That's right.
The Venom open up, Shane, in Simsbury, Connecticut.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. kickoff.
Keep
Gonna
your
be-
hands to yourself, kids. Let's play some football.
Let's do it. Keep your hands to yourself. Oh, my God. The old man was playing tailback tonight. I was showing my speed, and then on the fourth or fifth rep, I hit the corner, and I goodbye, guy, and I
felt a tightness.
There goes
in my
that
quad.
hammy.
No, it's the quad.
All
Oh,
50
God,
years
nothing.
kicking in, huh?
I go, this is that 50-year quad.
Yeah.
I had the mic out there. I had the giant speaker. I was playing, what's his name? Mims. This is why I'm hot. That's what we're walking out to, Cherie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop.
You're not gonna do the Virginia Tech Enter Sandman entrance?
No, I mean it's
That
done.
that is pretty
It's
dope.
great.
Yeah.
I love This Is Why I'm Hot. It's one of my. I like that vibe. So these kids are having I had to lie. We named our captains tonight. We had to walk out, Cherie. There was a heat warning. Steph, the football mom,
it's hot everywhere. Is it hot where you are, Cherie?
Yeah.
Same here. It's crazy.
You're gonna cancel practice.
They canceled.
I can't cancel practice. Are you kidding me?
So his first soccer game was tonight, and then about an hour before the bus was to leave, they canceled the game because of the heat index. Well, they were riding with the varsity girls soccer team. They're going to the same school as I almost knocked my laptop over. Yeah, so I'm like, hey, text Ryan. I'm like, hey, they just canceled your game. It's like, all right. Well, my niece plays for the varsity girls team.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to her, and I'm like, oh, it sucks. They canceled your game. She's like, no, ours is still on.
Oh.
They canceled the boys' game because of the heat index, and then the girls' game.
What does that say about soccer, Claudio?
Yeah.
They calling the guys soft is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Doo-doom. No, I'm not doing the sprints with the kids either. But yes, it was hot. And it was the perfect song, actually. I told the parents this is the perfect song on tonight. We had college football this past weekend. I don't know how you can't be fired up for football. It just is like the appetizer.
Are you excited for Bears football? Or are you more? Would you say you're more excited or more nervous?
I am more nervous. More nervous.
They can't lose. Like I'm still sticking to my guns. They can't.
Yeah.
You can't come out of this with a loss. That'd be very bad.
Listen, we've said it many times. It's going to be interesting to see what Courtney has to say about it. But for me, I'm with you. There's just no way to lose at home. Like, I can honestly get behind the nerves and the energy, like unknowns, if you were traveling to Green Bay, but you're at home.
But even then, I just think you have to. You can't if you want to change the mentality. If Eberflus wanted to change the mentality, they've known since spring who game one was. And as soon as you see game one at Soldier Field versus Green Bay, to me, that's when the playoff mentality starts.
Exactly.
And you don't let one practice go. But you want to implement the hit system? I get it. This is no different. I'm putting pictures of the discount double check and everybody. I'm going back to high school days. Yeah, all of that shit.
I'm going back to fucking Don Makowski's fucking throw across the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
That Michael McCaskey put an asterisk in the program.
Yeah.
On. I'm going back to the days where Ditka called it what it was. I mean, it's got to be a street fight. It's got to be.
I agree.
Something that these guys haven't understood.
I don't want to hear Justin Fields saying how great of a guy Jordan Love is, and they work out during the offseason. That's fine. Just I don't want to hear about it now.
Completely with you. It's like, listen, I said it. I know Coach Tomlin agreed with me. In the preseason, I'm a big believer in you got to spar to box to win the champs. The Chicago Bears have taken a different path to opening day than I would and Shane would as if we were the coaching staff and GM or whatever. All that goes by the wayside in how you enter that field, how you go about your business at Soldier Field versus the Green Bay Packers. You had Justin Jones talking about, damn, I wish he was still on the team. That's the kind of approach that I get behind. I am not trying to soup up the meatball fan or anybody else. I'm not a rewriter of history. I take those things with pride. I'm the most competitive guy around. The Bears have to go out there and play a way they've never played before. Talk is cheap. And the talk of the offseason has been the defense talking and chatting and instituting this buildup of confidence. And I get behind that.
We better see it.
Not be there on Sunday.
Right. Yeah. If it's not there on Sunday, Phil, that's a big red flag.
Exactly. And that's
to me would indicate that it's just a creation to, for fan hype and all of that. And you can't.
7 interceptions in fucking practice.
Enough is enough. If they go out there and play their asses off and lose, I won't be happy, obviously. But this has to be different. Like I said, you have to go in there with a killer mentality no matter what. You can't say, "Oh, we're not gonna show this." You have to go out there and if the way that I would do it in week 1, especially if it's Green Bay, let's just say Chicago's hitting on all cylinders. I'm keeping that fucking gas pedal on until there's zeros on the clock at the end of the 4th quarter. And then I'll walk right out to the center of the fucking field and I'll tell the head coach. It's different.
Exactly.
It's different now.
I want everybody in the chat to remember a time like Michael Jackson. Do you remember a time? I know you could sing the song in your head. Brian Urlacher against the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember a time where the Chicago Bears just said, fuck you. We are going to win. We are playing in that game. I remember Peanut Tillman, Urlacher, Alex Brown, Gunley, all these guys Mark Anderson coming with a blindside set, all of them going out there. That's the energy that if you're talking about, that's what I want to see come Sunday. You talk about passion and determination and all of the stuff that you've been talking about. It better be out there. And I'm sorry, all these fucking blog boys that have just taken over football, living off fantasy, never played, just fantasy football. They write stories. You don't know what it is to understand giving everything. So a coach has to get that out of him. And if a guy's getting paid to play, sometimes they lose track of the importance of a rivalry. So it's your job as the head football coach, the GM, all the way down to make sure that you're prepared and that you understand what togetherness means for the Chicago Bears. And it starts with the ultimate rivalry, the oldest one in pro football. And also it starts with America's game. So that's going to be nationally televised in front of the country on opening Sunday to kick it off at 4:25 here on the East Coast. I mean, that's really where you got to be. And you as a coach better tap the fucking shit into that and get them to understand that this game is not about just you. It's about the thousands of fans that are going to be there at the stadium and the millions of fans that are watching it. Like, you have that kind of responsibility. And the great ones, they understand and buy and embrace that. Say, you know what? You're right.
The rant beat going. getting lathered
this
up.
This is where you get. I mean, I'm lathered up because I got a game in the morning, and then I got Bears making me nervous at 4:25 for the Packers versus Bears, where Shane and I will be live right after the game on BHL. And I hope my rant is about the Chicago Bears taking back the North. When Ryan Poles stepped to the podium as nervous first-time GM, going to take over the North and never give it back. That's the approach that you got to get to here come Sunday. Those football players that you chose, that you've created, that you've drafted, that you've embraced in free agency, all the fucking stats and blogs and all that shit go out the goddamn window. It's 4th and inches at the 35. I'm not putting Cairo Santos out there. I'm putting the rookie, and I'm telling him, get the fucking first down. We're going for it. We are going for the jugular. That's where this football team's got to go. And these Green Bay, ignorant, cocky SOBs are going to have one written excuse. Well, this is a first-time quarterback, and that's good. That's good for the Bears, because we got to get to our goal, and that's a championship, and it should be. It should be. These coaches better understand what it is. I hate this Mark Trestman, Matt Nagy, even Foxy couldn't tap into the importance of Aaron Rodgers saying, I own you, or them rubbing it in. They couldn't tap into the rivalry. I hope Coach Eberflus understands that isn't just shitting on the organization or the field or the fans. It's shitting on the whole culture that you're trying to build. So how do you take over the North? You beat your oldest rivalry, and you do it in the way that's dominant. And you know what, guys? I don't care.
And then you let them fucking know about it.
You let them know.
Yeah.
Let the talk. If that's the attitude adjustment that you got, shit, you and I have been begging for a bunch of dogs out there, guys that are backing up. They come in and they lay the lumber and they get up. They don't have to be a dick. Yeah. You don't have to be a dick.
See you in 40 seconds, because I'm going to whoop your ass again.
I'll be back here again.
Eberflus walks into the fucking locker room before they go back out, and you pull the scene from Gladiator, and you get up in front of your troops and you say, at my signal, unleash hell, and you walk out of the fucking room. It can be that simple. That's the fucking hits philosophy. I'm serious. It doesn't have to be this big soliloquy, this big drawn out bullshit speech. It can be short, precise, and to the point. It can be a pinprick right through the fucking heart to get your message across. That can give maximum destruction. At my signal, unleash hell, and walk out of the fucking locker room.
The greatest game in the world. You can have the best quarterback, the best athletes. You could be an underdog. Look at Duke. And if you get 11 guys to believe and run to the goddamn football, tackle the ball, you are going to win. If you are going to run to that ball and tackle and believe, you're going to win. Trust me, you have to be maniacal.
And then on 3rd and 14 on the first series, and they have the fucking 19-yard in route. Damn right.
I'm playing the in.
Bill, if you go back and watch Jordan Love, when they pressure him is when things fall apart for him. And that is my number one worry, is when you run this type of defense, more times than not, you're very, very stubborn and you're not going to deviate. We're going to win with our front four no matter what. We're going to win with our front four no matter what. And if you're not constructed to win with your front four right now, then you better find some alternate pathways to the quarterback. You can't, I don't give a shit who it is. You cannot let him sit back there and have all fucking day and not get him off his platform. You have to rush him. You have to put the fear in his head. And if they don't do that, that's going to be a big fucking problem for him.
I agree, Shane. And listen, we're going to talk about some of the roster choices, cuts, and analysis with the great Bears beat reporter Courtney Cronin of ESPN. See her thoughts on it. But I didn't like some of the moves. I've never hidden my opinions on it. I don't know what their defensive ends are going to be. I don't. We don't know what Justin Fields is going to be. We all believe and want to believe, but he's got to go out there and prove it and be the big time player in the big time moments. There's nowhere to hide. There's nothing.
No, time is now.
All out there.
I agree. The time is now. I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear any excuses. And I'm not saying that they need to come out there and be Super Bowl ready. Game one. I need you to come out there and I need you to beat Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers on your home field. Exactly. And this goes to the fans. If you're going to the fucking game, you better be on your A game too. Don't sit down. Just say, oh, we're outside. We're having a great time. The weather's beautiful. No, you have to be loud. You have to be obnoxious. That translates. Players on the field, that can dictate games. He's fourth year in the league for Jordan Love.
100%.
I understand that part of it, but you have to put pressure on him from the crowd aspect. Make it loud. Yeah.
Bro, I've been there. I've seen them, the Bears fans, be lackadaisical. Lackadaisical in that country. Just not getting up, standing up on third down. If you're in your section and you're a TTNL fanatic and fan, you better get this crowd on their feet every goddamn third down. It's going to help the team. I don't know why you pay the money to go embrace. You have an opportunity to have an effect. We can yell for Green Day and fucking Bruce, the boss, but we can't yell for our Chicago Bears. Fucking, what's her name? Taylor Swift. She goes there to Soldier Field. We're screaming. Girl, people are crying. Do that for the Chicago Bears, especially this day. Set the tone. You have to do it. You have to do it. I leave there, and Shane, you've witnessed it. I don't even have a voice for the show.
Like I said, we have season tickets. I bought my son season tickets to Syracuse, and Syracuse has sucked for a long time at football. But you know what? I told Riley, I'm like, if you're gonna be here and you're gonna root for Syracuse, our home team, like I said, you're not just gonna sit there and be cramming popcorn into your mouth on third down. No, this is what you're gonna do. Exactly. You're gonna participate. You're gonna get the people around you hyped, and it is. I mean, you don't go to a Syracuse game and not have a bunch of fun in the stands because they know how to do it right. They know how to get people fired up, and Soldier Field has to be the same way too. They should have something that is recurring on third down. As soon as the fans hear it, it goes off in your brain. You stand up, you get loud. Not when Justin Fields is on offense. Just sit down, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that. And then he says, but it's got to be a beat. I don't like their stand up.
Yeah, Syracuse they play Hell's Bells.
Yeah, you got to get somebody in there that understands, hey.
I like what Lyle is saying, because let's not forget that this is Jordan Love's first NFL star. We want him to be scared to come to Soldier Field.
Exactly.
So we need to put that fear in him, shake him up. So we know when he comes to Soldier Field, it's not going to be an easy thing. So yeah,
that's the thing. I understand they have the siren, the fucking air raid siren. Well, guess what? I don't want any fucking air raid siren. That means there's going to be bombs and shit. I'm on defense. I don't want to fucking air raid anything. That just no. Come up with something.
I can see.
Come up with something better.
Siren. Second down just happened, and it's incompletion. The siren then goes off to set the tone, but then it's like fucking Dre day. It's got to be something. It's third down. Dang. Like people have to get up.
Put Larry Mayer up on the fucking concourse with a microphone, and we'll get beat by 40.
Oh my God, we need something other than the siren and a guy saying it's third down. Get out your.
Oh my fucking God! Your lunch with Larry.
Wouldn't that get you hyped?
Like you're at the freaking the local fair. No, we need something else. These are the little things that matter.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. We understand that, but that's the point. Is there's got to be music.
The music is the key element that's missing in the track. It's like
I know I have some third down stuff on my phone from the stands in Syracuse, and it is you hear that and you hear Hell's Bells start, and the entire fucking crowd stands up and just starts going nuts. It doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 1, doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 22. It's every single third down all the way throughout the game. It's got to be that way.
I agree. And you guys can put in the chat some of your choices on music. For me, I would have to think about, Still Dre would be one of my votes. That would be a vote for me. Still Dre with the siren right after the incompletion of the fucking linebacker stuffs the running back. Then it's got to be third down, and then it's I
got a song for y'all.
The players feel it. The players feel it.
By Ludacris. That intro beat, even though the song is good, the intro beat movement is a good intro.
Move it, get out the way. That one?
Yes. That's my vote.
All right, that's your vote. I got Still Dre. That was just one that I thought of, but I got to think about this stuff. But I really feel
too bad we can't play any of it because we'd be.
I know.
Ding, but yeah, that would
I don't like the siren only and some fucking guy telling you it's third down like he's at a bowling alley. Come on. Or a fairground. Ladies and gentlemen, the 50-50 raffle.
Get up, Chicago Bears fans. It's third down.
Yeah.
That's the juice, baby, yo, I feel the juice in my mouth, yo, the juice in your ass like Florida orange, baby, yo, pulp free, hell no, I need the pulp, need a whole bunch of pulp in that goddamn ass, yo.
Imagine that.
Yeah, Bragg's put in there, AC/DC, like I said, that's what they do. Hell's Bells in Syracuse. But yeah, you got it. There's definitely something out there that they can use and maybe they've thought about it, and hopefully that they haven't talked about it, and they started on Sunday. That'd be great. Start a new tradition that way.
Curls by Cool Kennedy and myself. Yeah, as a reminder on Thursday.
I hope there's hope. No in routes on 3rd and long.
You gotta be original too, and it needs to be the formulation of the culture. As a coach, honestly, tonight, if you're just tuning in, I was talking about, we named our captains. I lined up the kids, how we're going to enter the stadium. And I told them how important this is. When we're on the road, we got to clap on our pads, and we're going to be freaking entering the stadium. They won't play a song for us, but at home, we're coming out to This Is Why Mims. This is why I'm hot. And that's setting the tone for these kids to be ready. And I think third downs, I'm totally against We Will Rock You. I know
Yeah, I'm not feeling that.
That's not the one.
No.
Phil, I'm on the same line, along the same lines as you. Is you want to pick a song that's gonna kind of hype you up, not
absolutely.
You will sing along to. So
not to go back to Syracuse again, but when they do that, the fucking players start. Everybody on defense starts fucking dancing. The crowd sees that. They get even more hype, and it's like I said, it's a great atmosphere, and that's defense. That's you're Justin Fields, and you see those guys go out and make a huge play on third down, and Ngakwe comes around the corner and folds Jordan Love in half. Gives him the little. If I'm sacking him, I'm giving him the fucking little love sign over top of his head and walking off the fucking field.
This could be good. Stop, drop, shut him down. No, stop. That would be good. I could get behind that one because it even feels like a defense. DMX, man, that would be a good one, Mo. Got to give you some prompts. And all of a sudden you hear it, or Sabotage by Beastie Boys. I could do that one. Those are some good ones, man. DMX though, Rough Rider, that would be tough. That's what I want to see the Chicago Bears bring to the table. A new energy on third down, not the country fairgrounds. Everybody, Bears fans, stand up. It's third down. Let's stop this team.
Yeah, no. That's what George probably wants, but or Larry Mayer's out there leading the charge in a cowboy hat.
George McCaskey. Yeah. I'm just a fan, but stand up. No. Let's do the siren right after the incompletion or stuff. Then the stand-up third down and music to go with it.
Yeah, that works for me.
It's the theme song. Speaking of theme songs, I know she's enjoying the shrimp and lobster that we sent to the green room, enjoying all the food that we sent over there.
Hopefully it's not room temperature seafood. It's friggin' hot everywhere right now.
Yes, we are having a heat wave here on the East Coast. Wonder if it's hot out west. Anyway, let's bring her out the way we do here. I don't want to keep her waiting. You know her from ESPN. She's all over the place, around the horn.
And Phil still hasn't updated her intro.
And Shane has not updated her.
No, Shane writes it. Shane does not update it.
I need a script. It's the writer's strike.
Blame it on that. Yes.
I need more Yellowstone. Anyway, let's bring her out. The great Bears beat reporter for ESPN and ESPN 1000, Courtney Cronin.
With all the changes the Bears made this offseason, it also includes new beginnings for members of the media. Even though she covered the team in purple that continues to throw gobs of guaranteed money at Kirk Cousins.
No, God!
But more importantly, Chicago and Chicago Bears fans are excited to welcome her back home where she belongs. Yes, they're big shoes to fill, but she's just the one to fill them, and we couldn't be happier about it. Bears fans, TTNL fans, please stand up and brush off those welcome home mats and help us welcome the new Chicago Bears beat reporter for ESPN and ESPN Radio. She's Courtney Cronin.
Go Bears!
There she is.
We
Welcome back.
Need to update that at some point because
Absolutely. I was talking to Phil on the phone today. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. You know what we forgot? He's like, what? And I'm like, Courtney's fucking intro is so old. He's like, oh Christ, we forgot all about it.
See, you guys aren't the only ones though. So my Monday and Friday morning intro on Cap and J Hood is still like they're the only show that has done like a full production because Shay Norling is awesome and Jay Moore is awesome, and they just do a great job with that. But it's still like old takes on Russell Wilson when he first got to Denver, and then there's a Bears take about pumping the brakes, which eventually, if all things go well, it won't be pumping the brakes, but been on them. I'm like, all right, guys, we got to get this thing updated. It's going to sound like old news today, but.
Well, before we really get into it, you talk about Cap and J Hood and takes. What do you think of Cap today? Detroit Lions.
Saying that I was catching heat for last week, which I 100% stand by. We can talk about it. What did Cap say today? I didn't hear it.
Detroit Lions, Super Bowl champs.
Wow.
He's not the first to say that. I will say they're not. I mean, they're still a team.
I can't.
Really good. No. No, I mean, he's been a big Lions guy. He's been on the bandwagon now for a while, which I am too. I have them winning
since 1957, like the rest of their fans, right?
They've never even won the NFC North, which is crazy. Like they've won the NFC Central, that's dating yourself if you talk about that. But yeah, I mean, hey, he's a Lions guy. I'll give him that. So if he wants to double down and say they're his Super Bowl champs, thank you for telling me this because I didn't listen today. I will remind him of this if we end up getting a different prediction a little bit along the way.
Yeah.
Which he is wont to do from time to time, which I'm all here for, because then you have people like me and J Hood and Dion and all those other people who are willing to say, hey, remember the time you said the Lions were going to win the Super Bowl? 4-8. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I think they're a very good team, and I think they have a ton of potential. I can't make that jump with Jared Goff, and
I could never bet on a Jared Goff train ever. He just doesn't jump out at me as a critical moment guy that's gonna make that. Now he could prove me, but I couldn't, and I would never bet on the Lions to be the Super Bowl.
I don't think they're a Super Bowl team, but they're my NFC North team, so I'm willing to go that far. I'm willing to say they get to the playoffs, they win a playoff game, but I am not willing to go as far to say Super Bowl champions. There's still a team in Philadelphia. There's still the San Francisco 49ers who got a whole heck of a lot better today by getting Nick Bosa back in the fold, and then who knows about Dallas. I know the NFC is top heavy, but I have Detroit maybe as the 5th or 6th team right now if you were to do your power rankings in the NFC.
Yeah, and
it's our colleague Eric Kramer here at TTNL was the Lions quarterback to win a playoff game for the Lions. Look at that. There's a great stat for you. Just got to promote TTNL. What was your hot take? I'm sorry, I cut you off, Shane. That you were catching heat for, Courtney.
No, it was so we were playing this game. I think I was in on Thursday of last week. We were playing a game that we play I think it was either during the NFL. No, it's Deal or No Deal.
Okay.
Not Deal or No Deal. I'm getting that confused with one of our
I opened up Twitter and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
It was shot or no shot.
Shot or no shot.
And it was a no shot for me because we were going off of this NFL.com article ranking teams that were last in their division, chances of going worst to first. And for me, the Atlanta Falcons in that category, I put them way up at the top of teams who have the potential to go from worst to first. You guys know I've always been very adamant on staying true to my takes. I have never once predicted that the Bears would go worst to first this year. And I think it was Shay asked us, Bears will have a 10-win season. And it's not shot or maybe a shot or maybe a little bit of a shot or a half shot. It's shot or no shot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I said no shot. And I don't know, somebody was listening, and just decided to just unload a clip on our predictions and all this, which frankly, my check's clear, my check's cash, whether my opinions, like whether you agree with my opinion or not. Like, and I'm going to stand by that till the day I die. But I put this comment up because these fans were just like losing their mind. Like the audacity of me, someone who's there every single day, watching the ups and downs and analyzing it and talking to people. You know what happens?
Yeah.
When you're a reporter, you talk to people and you can't report half the stuff that you get.
Exactly.
You're still hearing things. You're hearing the intel, hearing how people really think. So I quote tweeted somebody because they were just like dragging, like, you know, and I'm not one to just like casually sit by. I don't typically get in the mud unless I have to, or unless I
fill it with Scar.
Like
that she quote tweeted.
Is he a TTNL person?
No. We know he's a rabid Bears fan. Just like I said, I think we talked to Dan Weeder about this when he was on there, because Dan still to this day is very, very butthurt about you have to learn to win. No, well, when you're a 3-win team, they don't need to learn to win. They didn't need to learn to win last year, and we were trying to talk that out with Dan. He's like, "Oh, everybody gets so mad," and then he quote tweeted Cole Kmet the other day. And Cole Kmet's like, "Well, we got to get out there and learn to win." Well, yeah, it's a whole different set of circumstances this year compared to a stripped down, team last year.
Yeah,
but I just think what it comes down to, Courtney, more than anything, it's a starving, rabid fan base that is ready to get launched into the stratosphere or get kicked in the balls again, like we have for most of our adult lives as Bears fans.
And I, as somebody, see, the thing is, I'm not a fan. Like, you realize that. Like, you guys know, I'm a journalist.
Right.
There are a lot of people who are like, why can't you be more like Braggs and like all this stuff? Well, Braggs is a fan. There are a lot of people who cover this beat who work for outlets. They're fans, and he does an awesome job, and he's super fun, and I love his fucking personality. For me, that's not going to ever be the case. Like, I'm going to tell you how I see this, not with any sort of like Bears colored glasses on, because that's what I do. I cover the Bears and I cover the National Football League. Like, my resume speaks for itself. Like, I don't have to keep defending this. And that's just what drives me nuts, because like I wrote something and people got all insulted about it because I said, no, like, sorry, like, I'm paraphrasing. Sorry, I don't see them as a 10-win team. This is my educated viewpoint on the team. And the reason I put that in there, you got to remind people, like, this is not from the heart. Like, this is me.
Right. This is your analysis.
Every single day, watching practice, talking with people, talking with players, talking with coaches, on and off the record, seeing what I see, using my 8+ years of experience covering the NFL, institutional knowledge, knowing how this team was formed, knowing what's going on with the roster construction to give a prediction. I think they're going to be a 7 or 8 win team. That's a massive improvement from 3 wins last year. I didn't think it was a 10-win team and the game was shot or no shot. So I said no shot. And I guess I really hurt a lot of people's feelings, which is fine. Like, it's not the first and last time I'll do that, but I won't apologize.
I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't make it. Yeah, I wouldn't make it the last time. I would stay true to what you think. Like I said,
it's
important because what is fanatic? Fan is short for fanatic. You know what I mean? And it's I get both angles. Braggs and I have talked about.
Not smart.
He's not smart.
He plays that thing up. Like, he is. I adore him, and I adore like his takes. I remember he actually
he called me and was like, your girl Courtney. Your girl Courtney, I don't think she likes me. That's what he thought. That's
when
what
did
he
do that?
This was like in the summertime.
Okay.
So he felt like there was.
That is so not true. We do have this Indiana Purdue thing going, like, like I'll give him for having.
He was an Indiana fan.
Did you know that originally he was an Indiana fan? And then
I just remember.
Then he switched to Purdue. He's got a Green Bay Packers jersey also, but that's a whole different story.
We were at the Bears beat. We were all out in the at the combine, and I remember we were watching Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament. And Carm is obviously a Northwestern person. Fishbane's a Northwestern person, and Northwestern lost. And I remember, like, Braggs was really feeling himself that night. He was very, very happy about the loss there.
Not smart.
I like the spite element there, but no, he's my guy. I like him. I like all the CH.
It's cleared up.
Yeah. No, but that's to your point. Yeah, Greg and I were talking about, and I told him when he was, starting with the CHGO thing. I'm like, dude,
we gave him advice.
You didn't go to college to be a journalist. You get out. If you're a Bears fan, you don't give two shits what anybody thinks about it. Stay true to who you are, and if it pisses off Adam Hogue or Nick Moriano or whoever the fuck else, who cares?
I think they have a good thing going. They all balance off each other really, really well. Like a group like that, typically to form a five-some, because it's Carm, Brad.
Very careful with this now.
Moriano. I'm just naming the people. Of course, I'm a five-some. Like sometimes they have other people in there. They do a really good job, and I enjoy that. But I remember somebody's like, "Why can't you be more like him?" I'm like, I don't know, because I'm me. Like I'm so sorry that.
Let me speak for you. Can I speak for you?
Of course.
Courtney's a professional analyst that has to take a bipartisan approach to analyzing truthfully what she sees on the field. I'm sure there's moments where you just shake your head with the stupidity of moves or you are like, wow, that's a really good move. And that's where you have to stay formulated. And I couldn't be in that role like that. I could not analyze the Bears on that level. I've been asked to do that, and I will never give away my ability to be completely true about anything I see, hear, or have been told, unless someone's like, can you please, like Courtney has said things to me, can you not say? And I respect that. I'm not going to be that asshole. I respect that stuff, but you have to very guarded with things that you hear and double check and make sure you do your research before you put it out there where someone else could just run with it. Mm-hmm. And that makes your job even harder. And you do, I would say for every hater you have 8 or 9 people that love you, including Cherie, who's your number one fan on our network.
I'm her number one fan too. She knows that. So.
Well, she loves you here. I know she probably ran to grab something to drink right now, but
no,
or she would pop right in.
TTNL fantasy football draft in the middle of our show.
Oh, you guys have one going tonight?
They did. Can you imagine?
We didn't have anything to do it. Yeah, our producer scheduled the live draft in the middle of our show. We just found out when we were going live.
Watch the show and listen while they draft. What he said.
Good background noise. I like that. Well, that's actually a smart strategy. I had mine on Monday.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm in 2 this year. It was.
Who was your first pick?
Justin Jefferson in one of them, and then Christian McCaffrey. I actually had I never get 1, 2, or 3, and I got lucky this year. I got 2 and I got 3 in both of my drafts. I'm always 8th, 9th, 10th. I always end up not lucking into that, but I did okay this year. So now I'm gonna actually take it seriously, because there are a lot of times that, why is this person disappointed in me?
Because you don't think they're going to win more than 9 games, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, disappointed. I mean, I can't be anything other than.
Listen, she's telling her
than what I'm telling you, but
don't feel bad. Just read some of our YouTube comments. That'll make you feel a lot better. Read some of our YouTube comments the morning after the show.
I love you guys, but
oh yeah, there's always a pause.
There's always a but. This is what you need to do. Anyway. Well, I had the first pick, and I don't normally do fantasy football. I don't have time. I'm coaching, doing this, but I got talked into doing it, and it was a keepers league.
Yeah.
So I kept a few guys. I never did this before. So I still had the first pick. Do you want to know who I took?
Who did you take?
I took a certain quarterback from New York. And Aaron Rodgers. I did.
Okay, so you broke the rule of taking a quarterback first overall.
I totally said, you know what? I'm betting on this guy because he's a Jet now.
Mm-hmm.
I would never take him if he was a Packer. Like, that's how I would play.
You might be off the hook now, Courtney, after Twitter hears that.
Although I think a lot of Bears fans now that Rodgers is out of the division, and of course this week is different. And even like today when we're at Alice Hall and I'm talking to players just about what the rivalry, like how it feels now versus before. And really, you have such a small group of players that you can talk to that really went through it on a year in and year out basis, that have been in the rivalry and have lost a lot of those games. There's 3 players that still remain from the last time they won, which is 2018, which Pat Scales, I talked to him today, Eddie Jackson, and then Cody Whitehair. Like, that's a really small sample size, but I would think more Bears fans now that Rodgers, who's going to go to the Hall of Fame, first ballot, whatever, they're more willing to at least turn, the curiosity on. They don't want to be like, I don't want to see him, send him into Siberia, hope he loses every game. I don't think there's Bears fans who hope he loses every game with the Jets. If he played for the Packers, sure. Totally understand it. He's in your division, but my goodness, like, who doesn't want to see? I mean, that actually would do Bears fans a favor, right? Stick it to your division rival, the guy who was like the king of spite, sticking it to his former team. That's a soap opera. It's incredible television that we were just gifted this offseason. So, Phil, while you may have broken the cardinal rule of fantasy football by drafting a quarterback first overall, I think you might get a pass for it this year, just given the circumstances of who you drafted.
Listen, it was a keepers league. So I already had DJ Moore.
Okay.
I had Alvin Kamara, even though he's suspended.
How many do you get to keep from year to year?
3.
Okay.
And
I did
the other
league in Major League Baseball back in 2011. It was a miserable experience. It's a lot of work to play baseball, fantasy baseball, but football, I would maybe do that one day.
I've never done it, so it was interesting to see that, because now I already knew I had I had CeeDee Lamb,
okay,
DJ Moore, and Kamara. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna bet on Rodgers blowing up over there. I just feel like he is going to do something special in New York, to your point, despite Green Bay. He wants to shove it in their face. So I'm going to bet on 338 yards and 4 touchdowns, and I'll take that stuff. I go against I'm not a fantasy. My boy Adam Rank could do all that stuff.
You should have had him draft. Well, no, I think who are your other picks on this fantasy team? You told us that you got your keepers. Who else did you get this round?
Geez, I will have to open it up. I can't remember it.
I guarantee he drafted David Montgomery at some point.
I did not draft David Montgomery. I did get Jamal Williams because, Kamara is suspended. So I bet on that. That was a smart move, right?
Load share while he's out. How many games is he out? 3?
4.
4. So, yeah, he'll get a big load share.
I got Joe Mixon.
Okay.
I got Waller. I was 1 pick away from Kittle. So I had to settle for Waller.
I don't think settle is the right word there. He's going to get a lot of targets from Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a really sneaky good pick at tight end.
Thank you. And then I had to pick defensive players, and I bet on 2 Bears.
Okay.
Tremaine Edmonds, Brisker, and I got Logan Wilson from the middle backer from the Bengals. CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Joe Mixon. I got my backup, Brock Purdy. I got Roshan Johnson, Mike Evans, Mike Williams from the Chargers, Alan Lazard, 2 former Packers on my team.
Gosh.
I got Darnell Mooney, Evan Ingram, and I put in a trade to try to get 1 other running back. So
I like your team.
It's
a solid team. The Mike Evans one is really, it's a good pick. I think he's done with the Bucks after this season, though. I think this is his last season in Tampa. He'll put up close to 1,000 yards, if not a 10th straight season with 1,000 yards. And he's like, I'm 31 years old.
Exactly.
At that point, everybody's rebuilding. I'm out.
I agree.
Good for him. He is. I said this the other day when I got a text from his agent. A lot of people were, putting the stuff out on Friday, kind of like the litany of things that their side felt were not being met. And of course, all of the contributions that he has made to this franchise for 10 seasons. It's like he's a wide receiver and a tight end body.
Exactly.
And I think he is the most underappreciated receiver in the NFL.
When I heard that he had 9,
I would agree with that.
Before Brady, he is damn good. And I hope for his sake that he gets to a place that is contender ready, because we know the Bucs aren't going to be for a while. Once they truly hit reset. After
he made Johnny Manziel a first-round draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Johnny Manziel ran around like an idiot. Phil and I used to debate that all day long. I'm like, dude, the kid can't. He's a bastard case.
Manziel, I did lose on Manziel. I thought he was going to embrace this talent he had. But have you watched that documentary on him?
I was in New York for First Take, and I thought we were going to end up talking about it. So I ended up having my wild New York night was watch the Manziel Untold, and then stay up to watch the first episode of Hard Knocks. I really like the Johnny Manziel Untold much more than Hard Knocks. Of course, Hard Knocks is edited. It's a beautiful production at the end, but you don't really learn a whole ton. The Manziel thing, I felt like I got punched in the face, and then I was left to just look with my nose bleeding. I'm like, what just happened? In an hour and 30 minutes, if not even less than that. And I kept wanting to know more. I was like, God, they took over so much of that stuff from 2013 to 20, that second year in college. So it actually brought me back. I was covering SEC Media Days that year in Hoover when he was a no-show he overslept for the Manning Pass Academy, because he and AJ McCarron were roommates, and we all know he was hungover, he wasn't there, one of the things. I just remember that was a huge deal, because they would go around from room to room. It's the main ballroom that has all the writers, one network, one TV room over here, the other one that I was in working at the newspaper. So I had all of our video equipment set up, and watching him filibuster his way and just go straight coach speak in a way through those answers about where were you, accountability, all these things. I was just blown away that they went through that in about 2 seconds, because that was the biggest story that year. Go up. What's he going to say about AJ McCarron's a room over? Are they going to get in a fight? All that stuff was and it's wild to me, because I got to see him. I saw him at Ole Miss that year. It was a November game in 2013. And that was the one year I got to see him in person. He truly was
such a great place to watch a football game, Ole Miss.
It was so cool. It was so cool watching him in person. Ole Miss lost that game. And watching Texas A&M that year, how good they were. And really, you fast forward all these years later to the era of NIL and all the things that he talked about in this documentary, the stuff that he missed out on and the stuff that he, ended up going behind more or less the NCAA and going around them to get, what he felt he was owed. I was stunned at the end trying to put the pieces together. How did he get from this kid who goes into college, isn't the starting quarterback, ends up getting his shot, the goofy looking kid with the polo and the jeans, the very Texas looking kid, the guy who looked to Texas A&M, to being, this larger than life personality that in a matter of what felt like a blink of an eye, it went completely sideways. And at the end too, when he's at that, it's an Airbnb or something in Arizona, and he's I think he might've been smoking weed or just something. Yeah. They showed a close up of him lighting up something and hanging around with his friends. And he talks about I have addiction issues. He's bipolar, all this stuff. And his sister, what broke my heart was she's when she was talking about how, people are well, he doesn't have his life together. What are you doing? That he can't fully live a normal, he's not capable of having a job more or less, which I know some people say, oh, well, that's a cop out, whatever. He's how is I just wonder how he's going to be able to function in society once eventually this part goes away and fades, because I felt every time the Manziel story faded, it was brought back into the forefront. When he was selling those Texas A&M number 2 hoodies a couple years ago. I think that was around the time that like the spring league was
that
he was promoting. Eventually you become a normal person that, like Johnny Manziel, an anecdote in college football history. But I really wanted to know more from that documentary and was just shocked at how much they packed in and how much they just like whipped through, because it felt like they could have spent more time on a lot of different things. Like, the 0 hours of film watched, like when they were checking his iPad, like you're starting quarterback in the NFL. What? I coaches on that staff in Cleveland that I had remember talking to back in the day, like years after that had happened. It would just like kind of the way that they processed it, where it was like, this guy was literally in rehab in the middle of the season. And you just kind of, it was so much talent wasted.
Wasted talent. I thought he was going to be a superstar, but we haven't even talked any Bears yet.
I know. Sorry. I don't want all these tangents.
No, I mean, fans are going crazy in my text messages. And what about the Bears?
We can talk. We have time. Like, why is everybody in a row?
Courtney said they're going to win 3 games, and everybody can shut the fuck up, right? Make a stand.
Quote me on that.
Let's start away from. First of all, 8-9 wins is a huge upgrade from what we witnessed last year. But let's start with the quarterback. Everybody, obviously, we started this show with Shane asking me if I was excited or nervous. Where are you with Justin Fields right now? You've witnessed it. I was against not playing him the second. I'm like, play this kid, more reps. Don't contradict yourself. He's an NFL football player. If Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady play this kid. Now there's more questions for me, and I'm nervous about Justin Fields. Where are you?
I think that's fair because of what you saw. 5 series in the preseason and 2 passes behind the line of scrimmage that went for touchdowns. Of course, it's normal to kind of have some pause going into the season, because you hope, if you are a fan, that everything you've been sold the last 9-10 months will end up being true. That, a second year in the offense with the same offensive coordinator, the same voice in his headset, an upgrade around him with all these weapons, and in theory, better pass protection. Yes, the line has been injured and they've moved some pieces around, but like none of that is a guarantee at this point. Like the expectations are, I thought, if we've asked about this for months now. What are the expectations for Fields? What's a realistic jump? I thought Ryan Poles put it perfectly last week when he literally laid out a couple things. Number 1 was cutting down on the sacks. Like,
yes,
throw that out there as the number 1 thing. And, maybe in his brain, like maybe he has like an actual order, but like to say that first, that to me was pointed, because sacks are as much on the quarterback a lot of times as they are on the offensive line. To take 55 of them last year, not every single one of them. I know that there are a lot of Bears fans who were not happy with the center personnel last year. Well, he's on another team, so you guys can calm down. But it's not all
practice squad.
Yeah, he's still with Baltimore, isn't he?
Yes. He's on the
Ravens practice squad.
TTNL, yes.
A lot of that has to do with the quarterback and holding onto the ball too long. I remember from the first time I came on the show, like we were talking about Fields and the fatal flaw from college. He holds onto the ball too long, waiting for routes to develop downfield. If they want those sack numbers to come down, they've got to see him make not just marginal, but like considerable improvement in that area. So like that, the interception numbers coming down, which I don't think were 17 and 11 last year. I didn't think that was crazy high, but I get what Ryan Poles was saying. And I wrote an article early on in training camp about what the Bears were going to look for, like what they've started to, parse through. Like, okay, you can go deeper in the offense. That's great. So it's not just base concepts. You can have a quarterback with a deeper understanding of the playbook. So when there is a check to be made at the line of scrimmage, he can make that on his own because he can read a defense and he can read defense, he's more capable of doing that because these aren't just like unscouted looks for a first-time starter from day one, which he was last year. I mean, he started halfway through his rookie season, more or less, but like from day one, the first time you get out there against San Francisco, it's his team. So I think it's still an unknown, and that's okay. Jordan loves an unknown. Like, you saw 3 preseason games from him, and that's great, like that they gave him that run. He needed it because he'd been more or less on ice for 3 seasons before that. But I think with Fields, the jury's still out, and I think you should be okay reserving your judgment for it until you actually see it like play out in a season, because no team that has a quarterback who hasn't proven it yet should go into a season feeling uber confident that the quarterback has it all figured out. You have to see it first, and that's okay. And we have seen glimpses of it in training camp practices, a little bit in the preseason games. But I mean, I don't know. There really wasn't much, I think, that you can take away from
I agree.
4.75 series, because he pulled himself, or, they pulled him out.
Stay there. I'm sorry to piggyback. As a coach, I thought that was a cop-out. You finished the drive with him in there.
We said it live when it happened. I'm like, come on, just let the kid finish the drive.
13 must be their favorite number. I'm just going to say that. 13, like Taylor Swift, she paints 13 on her hand. Maybe Matt Eberflus does that. I don't know. But I think the real thing is it was a screenplay that was not completely executed properly, and he got blown up on it. And it's the preseason, and it's like, all right, look, this guy is going to take a lot of hits because he runs a lot, and he's still going to run this year. Like, that's such a misnomer. Right. That like he's gonna all of a sudden like that's gone. Like, no, that's still a big asset of his game. Like, and that's a huge part of what they want to do, especially in the red zone. But I saw that as, hey, like, even though because Fields said no, that was like when we asked Flus, then we asked Fields about it, like, that was the number. I don't know. 13 seems a little weird to me. It's either like 10, 15, 20. Nobody ever says like, oh, I'm gonna play 17 plays. And then like
exactly.
That's my favorite number, but I don't know. I was a little surprised by that, but in the context of preseason, where I wonder if there was some sort of unspoken thing of, look, if you take a hit, just come to the sideline. Like, that to me was the only realistic way to explain that.
The only thing that made me wonder is on that play, if you go back and watch it, he got up and was looking at the sideline immediately,
like
and ran off.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering,
there was some agreement that coach say, hey, we'll just call it after this. But
when they said 13, I'm like, there's no fucking way. And then when I went back and watched it, I'm like, I wonder if he knew, right? Because if you just go back and watch it, you can see
he took a shot.
Mm-hmm.
He looked over.
Yep.
Am I still gonna be able? Hey, I don't know. As a guy who's
but you know what I mean? You think there'd be a little bit of a reach. Yeah, there'd be a little bit of like, oh, you know what I mean? Or something.
Yeah,
he just
be like,
he beelined.
And look, like, no one would ever question his toughness. Like, this guy put himself through hell last year. All the hits he took. I think you have to be smart about it, where you just, I mean, when you're shaken up in the moment like that, it's like, all right, like, I'm just going to take myself out, even though they're going to claim probably forever that it was 13 plays, and that it doesn't make any sense, because no one ever goes in for snap counts, pitch counts, whatever. They're never odd numbers like that. So I guess not a whole number, if that's, I don't even know my math terms, but like 13 is a weird number. It's actually a very unlucky number if you ask most people.
My son, they messed up his jersey, and he was supposed to wear number 11. Then he's wearing number 2. Then 2 is too small, or something happened. So the equipment manager sends him out with number 13. As the coach, the head coach, I go, nope, get off. He is not wearing number. That was
You think it's a cursed number?
I hate that number.
Don't tell Tyler Scott that. That's his number.
Hey, Tyler.
When I see number 13 in a Chicago Bears uniform, I always think of Johnny Knox against Seattle Seahawks
Rick
when he got
Meyer.
folded in half.
Is there any? I mean, Johnny Knox had a glimpse, but is there a 13 in the history of the Bears that I could think? I don't. And Dan Marino is the only 13 that I could think of that.
But my thing going back to Justin Fields, that I know Robert Mays, obviously with the Athletic, and Nate Tice, they do a great job, but they've been all in on Justin. And then one of their last shows, they were like, essentially, nah, don't see it. Pretty much, yeah, he is what he is. Yeah, and I'm like, what? Oh all off season, you guys have been hyping this guy up, and now you changed your mind because of preseason? To me, it doesn't make any. You know, everybody right now talks about the growth. You know, they want to point to Philly. You know, is he going to be Jalen Hurts? And I still go back to the Jalen Hurts numbers last year. He had 22 touchdowns with probably the best personnel on both sides of the ball at his disposal. Best offensive line, top 10 wide receiver, drafted. A.J. Brown, top flight wide receiver. Great offense, great defense, 22 touchdowns he had. And I forget who it was. Somebody came out and said that, thinking that he's going to take the Jalen Hurts type jump. Well, it's not just him taking the jump.
But it's not apples to apples either. So.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's the team has to come along for this ride. But if you want to base it just on stats. So Jalen last year had, I got it right here. Yes, the yardage, 3,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 picks. Justin's not that far off statistically throwing to Simba Webster and guys like that.
Poor Simba in there.
Well, I'm just saying it's
EQ. Put his name on the map.
But what
I can't believe EQ made the roster.
Are you seriously? You're surprised he made the roster?
Yes.
Why?
I don't see any value in Equanimous St. Brown.
They love a run blocker. Like seriously.
Well, that's what Phil.
That's
I think.
I don't agree with that.
Let me speak for Phil here. I think Phil and I had this conversation last week. I think when your best attribute on a team like the Chicago Bears is you're a great run blocker, that means you're a replaceable part and you're just there because you know the offense. And we got to find something to say that you're really good at, because we're not. I mean, and listen, he has his moments, but
he has 4 critical drops last season. 4.
And he really struggles to separate. I will tell you, though, from speaking with somebody on this coaching staff at the Combine and having a long conversation about, wow, like you guys re-signed EQ back in, I think it was like late December. Yeah. It was not a big deal. It's like maybe like 800
1-year deal,
like guaranteed on it. And I was like, what was the rationale behind doing that now versus like, off season, whatever. Like, and that word, like about like somebody who understands the system and is willing to just kind of do whatever they are asked to do in that offense. Like he comes from where Luke Getsy was. He knows the offense. Sometimes you just need guys who can do that. They may not be the premier pass catcher on this team. They may not be able to separate. They may not have the speed that DJ Moore has. All of those things are true, but he can still fill a hole on this team in situational, like in moments where you need him to. He can still be a decoy out there. I mean, they're running 11 personnel. They put one receiver on the field. Sometimes it's going to be an EQ in those situations, and that the ball's not coming his way. That's okay.
How about we hire EQ as the assistant wide receiver coach then? Because what he gives this football team is shoulda.
Alone.
Shoulda.
Okay. Like so when Pettis went on IR, he went on IR like a couple weeks ago. I remember tweeting something, because going into camp, it was Pettis and Velus competing on paper. Like that was the position battle for punt returner. And of course, Dante starts on NFI. We really never see him. I feel bad for him. Like he had a rough camp. Like he finally gets healthy, then he gets injured. He's like doing a little tiny bit in those indie practices, and then he gets injured in the game, and then he's done.
They officially released him today with an injury settlement.
It's just, it was unfortunate, but like the reason that like Velus kind of got off scot-free on that, everybody was acting like he was a complete lock to make the roster. Look, like Is he a third-round pick that they're going to give every opportunity to because you don't cut your own third-round pick after one season? Yes, but that didn't mean he was like he had the drop in the muffed punt against Tennessee. Like he had and it kind of felt after that point going into Indy because he had one good practice and then he got hurt he got hurt apparently then and he didn't play the next practice. Like it felt like he was being relegated after those moments with the second team offense where he wasn't really getting those opportunities that, he had worked really hard and it just wasn't like ever since that muff punt, I felt like it didn't really reflect in the way that he was utilized in training camp. And then of course, like, how they feel about him by the Trent Taylor move and being able to just openly say whatever, like paraphrasing what Eberflus said last week, that Taylor's a known commodity. Velus is still in the developmental stage of being a punt returner. Like
that.
I just don't know why don't they just remove that from the plate for him, Courtney?
That's
the punt return duties.
I think they will. And I know what the depth chart says right now. If you can give him the kick return job and he's
I have no problem with that. Yeah.
Give him that, let him focus there, take a couple things off of his plate. And, those gadget plays, the jet sweeps, we actually saw a lot of that of Mooney in the preseason and in preseason training camp, which I think is a great role for him. But that's also the Velus role that they've talked about. But bringing this back to EQ, like I remember somebody called me out on it on like, what's your rationale on this? Like it was between Velus and EQ for a roster spot, or it was like one of those. I was like, no, actually, like Velus, EQ, and Pettis were all coming in more or less on equal playing surface. Velus has a higher ceiling though because he is their draft pick. He's a third rounder, and you don't just give up on a guy after one season. Look, I've seen this happen a couple times. Most notably, Laquan Treadwell didn't know what a route tree was when he came to the Minnesota Vikings in 2016. Had like one catch for 15 yards as a rookie. First round pick. 2019 training camp, we thought it was going to happen in 18. They had finally seen enough to where they pulled the plug and they released him. There's guarantees on the contract. There's a whole lot of politics because it's you up with your first round pick. That is what the perception is. Now Velus is a third round pick and they clearly still see value there. If they didn't see value though, if it was really that bad, like where they couldn't trust him to do anything, he wouldn't be on the roster, but they're trying their best to give him an opportunity to, show 2 years in. And I thought Ryan Poles, I asked him about this last week, really more so getting at PJ Walker and Alex Leatherwood and being willing to admit fault from like.
That was a positive step.
I thought
let politics go. They put it on performance.
But then Poles also mentioned how, you've seen it the other way where if, something finally clicks for a guy, and that was his way of speaking about Velus Jones without mentioning Velus, that, you work things around trying to find the best fit for a guy to make a guy succeed. And if it doesn't happen this year, okay, then you have a different conversation in the offseason. But you have a lot invested in this guy. Like, so you are going to give him a longer leash and more opportunities, even if people, and I know yesterday people seeing him on kick return, which shouldn't have surprised anybody. He was a good kick returner before. Punt return, which has been the issue because of his
build. He's very good kick returner. I mean, he was up in the
he's built for that. I mean,
and
but don't you think just if you remove punt return completely, like we said, to me, looking back at the tape last year and just watching live, he made, and I'm just being 100% honest. I hated the pick the night that they made it. I was live on air, despised it, and I've never been a huge Velus fan, just analyzing him on tape. To me, he made strides as a wide receiver, making some plays towards the end of last year. And that's fine, and that's who he is. To me, if you just remove punt return, go out there, make plays as a kick returner, we're going to sprinkle you in a little bit. That's just, you can't force feed a baby with a shovel because you're going to make a mess. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like they're doing with Velus. They go out and get Trent Taylor and they're like, oh, no, we're still going to be working with him on punt return. And I'm like,
no.
I think that's political. I'm just going to put that out there. I think some of that has to do with like saving face to a degree. But
that to me is a problem. I mean, you shouldn't, because the thing about it is where I would kick back on that just a little bit. I don't know what that noise was, but maybe somebody made a bad pick at the fantasy football draft in the back. But Ryan Poles took a major shot at Velus when he was talking about Trent Taylor. He's like, hey, consistency.
Get up.
I can get up and go to the bathroom and come back and feel like we're going to have the ball. So, you know what I mean? I get the political aspect of it, but just let him take that off of his plate.
Tyler
you have
Scott.
to come out and say it.
You got Trent Taylor. I believe there is a serious mental approach to punt returning.
Yeah.
I was a punt returner at Hofstra, so I can definitely speak on it. If you're afraid to drop it, you're going to drop it. And there is a cheat code to this, and it's called a fair catch. So I've watched Velus.
He hasn't even figured that out, though.
He can't figure it out. Like, you put your feet where you're coached to, and if it's in front of you, you sprint with your hand up and you catch the ball, and you've saved and all this like 38 yards of hitting yardage. You can help your football team that struggles offensively, but the Bears have failed on special teams trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And he just get rid of the yips, get rid of those guys. Taylor, once I saw him cut, when Shane shared them, get this motherfucker now. That was my exact quote, because he's fearless and he's not afraid. And Bears fans are going to see these hidden yards.
And we'll still be scared that first punt return.
Yeah. And I think that, with someone like Velus and just, think about their punt return and their depth chart, like at punt return. I mean, you do need wide receivers or cornerbacks who have done it. So even just to keep him in the mix, who knows if there's injuries, if there's something like DJ Moore was back there. You guys remember the day that we asked about that? Or I asked about it at practice because I didn't see any. You never see that, and I felt like, it's not. I had this conversation with a former scout like right after this, and I was talking to him like, was that like the wrong approach on that? And they're like, no, I don't understand why teams do this. We know that DJ Moore is very likely never going to be back on punt return, but you need guys to rep it. And you need, like that day, Pettis was out, Velus was out. So it was just a literally stand in sort of thing. That's the answer I thought we were going to get instead of, no, he's absolutely an option. Look, I know he's done it before. I know that it gives you a different look. It's an emergency option. There's no way in hell they're going to get the okay from Luke Getsy or Matt Eberflus to go ahead and do that. But I think that that's kind of like, and taking DJ Moore aside from this, that stand-in sort of role further down the depth chart, that's probably where Velus will end up at punt return. And, I do agree though, Shane, like, taking the kid gloves and, not having to massage someone's ego and the politics around it. Look, football is a sport filled with emotional men who make emotional decisions. That is one thing I have learned in my last 8 years of doing this. There is so much ego involved. There's so many, for as macho of a sport as it is, and let's to each other, we're worried about our feelings a lot of times. And so a lot of times personnel decisions and are trying to make sure, I don't want to kill this guy's confidence. We don't want to strip him of a job and make him feel like he sucks, and then he might suck at something else. So all of those things are factors that you have to we don't have to sugarcoat it here.
Sure.
But inside the building, when you're dealing with guys who might be a little bit more fragile, when like they get news like that and they feel like they failed, like you still want him to go out and produce for you. So kind of
I just
get a little bit like
I get it. To me, that just points to that's the wrong guy. You know what I mean? And
I was just gonna say, Bill Parcells says, "Get him the fuck out," and that's the end of the
era of football. Different,
but no, it's not. We're trying. You know what it is? It's a different era of let's give everybody an award. Let's worry about Timmy's feelings because Velus got paid. No matter what he's getting paid to do this job. He can't do it. We can't sugarcoat. That Chicago Bear, just that practice of politics needs to end. You have to let's keep Laquan Treadwell around. Like, just to save face, but really everybody and their brother knows it sucks. Let's keep Kevin White here. Let's do same thing here.
A lot of it too is politics of people not wanting to lose their jobs, because that's
exactly
adding up. It's not just, oh, we got to make sure the players' feelings aren't hurt. It's me, decision maker, XYZ. I don't want this as a knock on my resume. And if you cut a 3rd round pick, I mean, look, he had 2 muffed punts in the Giants and the Commanders game, and he had 3 fumbles last year. All very costly plays.
And the drop against Dallas was huge.
So you can't just say, which I understand what Richard Hightower was saying, that like this, we're only focusing on this year. You know, it's show us what you're doing this year. You have to have institutional knowledge of a player, of like what he can and can't do, to know you can trust this player in situations very clearly. If you ever have doubts about how a team feels about anybody, just go look at their roster construction. Look at who they sign. Look at the decisions that they make. Look at who they play. Like, one of my favorite exercises to do are the gotta have it situations. So go look at like the under 2 minute and a half end of the game. Look at teams when they're down in the 4th quarter. Who is on the field? That tells you who teams trust. That tells you on critical 3rd downs, on critical 4th down situations where it's all or nothing. Look at who is on the field. That tells you everything you need to know about who they trust versus who they don't. And that helps people sift through all of the coach speak bullshit that we're often fed, to really find out what is actually truthful versus what is lip service.
Great point there. I have another issue. Besides the EQ, we don't agree there. I would have kept the kid Fountain over him. I saw more.
He signed. Whose practice squad did he sign to? I saw he signed somewhere.
Yeah.
He had a good. This is the best that I saw from him.
And he showed the ability to make plays and kind of be a developmental guy.
He's playing for Courtney's NFC North champs. Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions
practice squad, yeah.
I knew he'd land
Cap is happy about that pick, too.
I wouldn't have been surprised had the Bears re-signed him or tried to re-sign him back to their practice squad, but it also shows you if he goes to someone else's practice squad, he might view an opportunity there. And, of course, we know Jamison Williams is out for 6 games, and they had some injury concerns early on. Maybe he sees a chance to get, a 53-man, or at least like an active, get elevated twice. Have to sign him for 53, but that good for him. Good for him. You're right, Phil. He made a lot of plays in the preseason.
Here's the other thing. So before we kick off the season that I don't agree with the coaching staff, and it's the news of Nathan Peterman being named number 2. I think, again, the wrong move. The kid clearly earned that job, and you develop a quarterback by being the number 2 quarterback, and you believe in him. He's not threatening anything other than trying to be the best he possibly could be. And I think everybody and their brother that was surprised, obviously, if you watch this network, Shane was begging for the Bears to draft him and believed in that. So, and then you saw the performance. Putting Peterman to me is a cop-out, and it's a red flag for Getsy and this offense. For me, personally, I feel like you reward that. You want to keep Nathan Peterman as your number 3. That, to me, is that, to me, is politics right there. I don't like it. And what are your thoughts? The kid earned it, in my opinion, and it's great.
Bagent was the best backup that we saw in the preseason, like bar none. And I don't think anybody's going to argue that. But if you listen to what they expect out of their number 2 quarterback, and that's to be the eyes and the ears and all of the stuff that's been touted, this is a really complicated offense. We know that because every player we've talked to this preseason mentioned, like it took me till this week until I finally felt comfortable. And even Fields talking about, it took him a whole year to learn this thing. Having Nathan Peterman, who has already been through this with Justin Fields for the last 2 seasons now in this offense, I think that weighs a little bit more heavily, and it's no knock on Tyson Bagent. It has nothing to do with it. I just view it as like a first-year player in this offense and a rookie. It has nothing to do with the D2 stuff. I think 50-something plus starts, 7,000 yards thrown, all-time passing touchdown record in the NCAA. Like,
yeah.
His experience speaks for itself, whether it's at the NCAA, whether it's at Division II or whatever. Like, the guy knows how to play quarterback. They found him. They brought him. They got him. He went to the Senior Bowl. They got him from there to the system. They are developing him through the process. I just look at this, and it's not that like Peterman's more talented than Bagent. I don't believe that to be the case at all. We know what we have in Nathan Peterman. We've seen it since 2017. It's more that Peterman, as the clipboard holder of what we, that cliche term about what we hear about number 2 quarterbacks and guys who like go their career being perennial backups. There's a lot more that goes into it than just, I got to go in the game because Fields took a shot and he's hurt and he's not going to play the rest of this game. It's more than just that. It's the day-to-day stuff of preparation where Tyson Bagent is still learning how to do this, and he's never been active for an actual NFL game. I'm confident at some point he will be QB2 on this roster, but I think from a learning it day to day, that's a lot to put on a rookie quarterback while he is still trying to make it in this, as a backup quarterback. Of course, they had to keep him on the roster because the game against Indianapolis, that 92-yard touchdown drive, I remember tweeting right after that, what does it tell you that PJ Walker, who they locked up $2 million in guarantees to this offseason, that he's getting outperformed by an undrafted free agent, priority free agent guy, like that? Finding backup quarterbacks is really hard, like good ones. It's really hard because you take a look at the backup quarterbacks around the NFL, by and large, they're very similar, where it's not really somebody you want to trust the offense in the event that your starter can't play. So I think that Tyson Bagent will end up being QB2 at some point. Matt Eberflus left the door open for that. It's not this week. It's going to be Nathan Peterman. But
that's why I don't have confidence in Matt Eberflus. And this is why. You can do all of what you said by him being the third quarterback holding a fucking clipboard. Nathan Peterman, stand there. Same thing with hire him as a quarterback coach then. If that's what this kid gobbled up the playbook, as Keys guys is saying. He showed everything you've ever wanted to see. In fact, I have watched this team for the last, 40 years of my life. All right, 45 years. I'm fucking old. And I have never seen a backup quarterback. I've said this on the show. I took a lot of heat since Eric Kramer that showed the velocity, accuracy, the foot, everything that I want to see, the poise, the anticipation throws, everything. And I'm only getting a short glimpse of it. I'm getting footage sent by some of your colleagues because I wanted to see Bagent, and he's clearly outperforming all of the other guys. So to me, it just sends the wrong message. Again, I have zero confidence in Getsy and Alan Williams. They're the biggest question marks for me, as is the head coach. This decision, to me, I don't agree with at all. I'm total opposite.
Okay, I think it's okay not to agree with it because Tyson Bagent, it almost kind of feels like it's a knock against him where, they gave him the job and then they took it away. Right. And I can understand that rationale and that feeling. The second that they signed him to the active roster, I knew that was over. Because otherwise, no offense, nobody's gonna poach him off your practice squad. He's not that good of a backup. You know what I mean? So they did that, and Matt Eberflus's his response was, "Well, we wanted to protect him." Newsflash: no one was going to sign him off your practice squad. Just putting that out there. You would have been
talking about Nathan Peterman now.
Yeah, Nathan Peterman. Yeah. And Bagent would have been different. So the second that they put him on the active roster, I knew that was going to be his job as QB2. And just hearing from Fields, from Getsy, from everybody who talks, I implore anybody listening, just listen to what they say, what they want, because it's very clearly paints a picture of somebody who's been in this offense before, somebody who knows Justin Fields, for more than a year now, who, has the knowledge of this offense, which is complicated to learn, and Tyson Bagent very well may surpass him very quickly. And that wouldn't come as a surprise to a lot of people. But for right now, I mean, honestly, if Justin Fields goes out of a game, you're probably not in a great spot anyways. And look, he has missed time every season he has played. He takes a lot of hits because he's
that's the point, Courtney. Then I don't need to see Nathan Peterman out
there.
Well,
I think those are two separate decisions to be made. If God forbid Justin goes down with an injury and he's going to be gone for the year, if they trot Nathan Peterman out there for 4 or 5 weeks, I think that that's a massive mistake. You're not going to go anywhere. You put the kid in there, and what happens?
That's what I'm saying. Happens. You're preparing him, Shane, on a game.
No, I know, Phil, but
I don't agree with it.
I'm not calling this political because I look at it this way, and I'm on record as saying this. I had no problem with the Bears rostering 3 quarterbacks on the 53. We talked about it. To me, it would have been way more political if Tyson Bagent didn't make the 53 and they tried to sneak him through to the practice squad. Then I would have had a big problem with it. Yeah. And then PJ Walker is on the roster because of the guaranteed money. To me, that's when you put the neon lights up and said, this is a political, he's here because of money and no other reason. They made the right choice by keeping him on the roster. If he's number 2 quarterback for 4 weeks, for 6 weeks, Peterman, whatever. To me, it's most important that Bagent is here and not. They talked to who was on with Hogan Johns? He was the Ryan Pace's second-hand man. Yeah, Josh Lucas, and he had a really interesting perspective on Bagent. He said, what I have seen of him, if I'm the Bears, there's no way in hell I'm subjecting him to waivers because somebody can poach him.
He wouldn't have gone.
But if I'm another team, what I have seen of Tyson Bagent in the preseason, I'm also not banging the table saying we have to have this kid here. But he goes, that in and of itself tells you don't gamble. This isn't a wide receiver 5. You know what I mean? This isn't a third tight end. This is a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And we've seen this happen in the NFL. You know, Kirk Cousins was a 4th round draft pick when RG3 was drafted. You know, we've seen. Yeah, I mean, you see it all over the place. Nobody knew who Kurt Warner was.
Romo.
Yeah, nobody knew who Kurt Warner was.
History stands for itself, where guys have been able to go to make that jump from QB2 to starter eventually. I think they have a plan for him in place. Nathan Peterman is not going to be I'm not saying he's going to be like a long-term option on this team, but for right now, I think a lot of it has to do with Fields' comfort too. Like he's has a say in this, like the guy who's behind him, the guy who helps him feel most game ready because he's bouncing ideas off of that person. Or what did you see on this read? Like, where should I have gone with the ball if you didn't go to the right place? I think there's a trust factor in that too. There's a comfort level. He's been with Nathan Peterman now for a whole year. That's not something that they take lightly. So like, if Tyson Bagent takes this year, if he ends up like still staying QB3, if he ends up eventually QB2, wonderful. If they can develop him and say, we've got a true backup quarterback who we trust to go in games, and to have that guy stay in the fold, that's a very lucrative position for him to be in for a backup quarterback. They can make a ton of money. I know it's not like it's neither here nor there, but that's a big part of it. The most successful ones are the ones who can stay in the league, like the Chase Daniel route, the Josh McCown route, all of those guys. But I don't think they're trying to put more on his plate than they feel is an appropriate amount right now. And I get, Phil, why you think it's political, why it almost feels like they're toying with Tyson Bagent. No, he's QB2. Oh, he's not QB2. He's QB3, like all this stuff. They're going to do things like that to they will say it's under the guise of, protecting their information. It's gamesmanship. Is it really going to affect things in a game right now? No, because the focus needs to be on Fields and what he can do. But
yeah,
I truly believe that Tyson Bagent will end up being QB2. They can change a depth chart at any time, and I think
I agree.
He will be.
just for the record, because obviously, and when people get upset that we're talking about QB2, we've never had a QB2 like this. Yes, we haven't had a quarterback. And
we haven't had a QB1.
Despite what you're saying and feeling in the chat, and you fans attacking Courtney about her or attacking me, you don't know how Justin is going to play because I don't know. And I'm grinding all this tape for years to try to figure this out. I don't, as a coach, he outplayed Justin and everything and everybody to get to this point. Despite his story, that's what I saw him do. Justin's clearly your number one. I feel as a coach, I reward that kid and we roll with him because you have the emergency 3 now. You can have Peterman standing there with his headset. But if I go down, or Justin rather goes down, I'm going to the young kid way before I go with Peterman. And that's what it should be, in my opinion. And that's how they portrayed it and made it and then course corrected. This is a franchise that believed in Mike Glennon. This is where I've stood, is like, get rid of the politics, play the best. That's what you should do. And I'll stand there with it. I'm not a believer. Oh, in 4 weeks, he'll be the number 2. In 3 years, the Bears will be good. Oh, wait till next year will be good. That's just not how I ever have been with it. And I completely agree with you. That's probably what's going to happen. 3 weeks, but for me, it would be straight out the gate. He's your number 2. It's a great story. It's a great momentum against this rivalry that you have to win, Courtney, in my opinion. The Bears, in your opinion, with us, Shane and I have said, this is like the Super Bowl for you. You have to
approach. They have to approach game 1. I feel like with a playoff intensity. You can't lose game 1 to Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers on your own field under the circumstances where you're coming from with the offseason and where you want to go. I mean, that's just I don't know how that's going to be. I just think that they have to approach it with a playoff mentality.
I know that they're not trying to put that much intensity. I get your point of view, because this is the one time that the rivalry feels like it's open-ended. And we know that it's been preached that way, even though they're not going to tell you that. They're telling you it in their actions. I had a conversation with Tyler Scott in the locker room today. He told me on Monday, the rookie development, so they get all the rookies together. I think it's an every Monday thing. They don't just do
right,
Bears Packers. I think it's like financial stuff, life skills, whatever. But like Monday was spent.
Financial stuff. Was Javon there? Hopefully. Jesus, did you read that? That's awful.
It was awful. I mean, this is what I have we could do a whole nother podcast about that, just with like, where's the school and all of that?
I know. It's
like, and I understand, but like, read the contract. Like, you know how complex that language can be? Like, and not everybody has a lawyer on fucking retainer. Like, stop.
Right, and it's very similar to what they did in a totally different sport, but the young Cuban baseball players, it's the same type of deal that they do with them. But I mean, 15% of your
it was.
future.
I had an agent text me on Saturday morning. Like, he sent me the language of it, and he's like, "Can you believe this?" I'm like, "Yeah, in a way I can," because NCAA dropped the ball. They they had every chance to regulate NIL, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, hands off, July 2021." Like, oops, here it is. And then it became. I really do feel for Gervon Dexter, and there are going to be people who say, "Oh, well, he should have read the language." Would you, at 20 years old, know read every little bit of it and understand every word of a complex legal document? No, you wouldn't. If you say you would, you're lying. So
you got to be Michael Ross from Suits to get on that. I don't know if you've watched
I don't know
that.
the reference. I haven't watched Suits.
Oh my God, that's my show. That's my show for you to watch on Netflix, Courtney.
I will get around to that. I'll get around to that at some point. But back to the rivalry. So like, they do these rookie symposiums like every Monday, and like this Monday was about Bears Packers, and like I think it's really hard for this team because it is such a young group, to truly understand the significance of a rivalry that has gone so one-sided for this entire 2020 2020s, whatever you call it, this generation. They've won one game in this rivalry since 2018, and they've not won back-to-back since Rodgers was a backup. It's lost, and not among the fans, but like in the national perception of Bears Packers, it's lost its luster. And I agree. This is your chance. This is a story I'm writing for Friday. It's your chance to reset it, to grab hold of what's a wide open division. Doesn't mean you have to win the division, but Jordan Love, if you're looking at like who has the strength, like is their defensive line better than the Bears? Like is their running back room better than the Bears? Like, the Bears should have a clear advantage at quarterback. Justin Fields, experienced starter. Jordan Love has started one game. It's not even up for debate. And to take that advantage in an area where they've never had that advantage in that position, of course you have to cash in on that and, win this game at home. It's a nationally televised game. Everybody's going to be seeing it. And if they win this week, like that is their schedule the next couple of weeks. I mean, Tampa Bay, they have very
Courtney might push that win total to 6, Phil, if they win week 1.
I factored in
no shot
into my 7-8 win total. But no, I mean, imagine the confidence boost that this team gets thinking, okay, it's not just another game, but to take down a division rival who 3 players on this team that I mentioned, Patrick Scales, Cody Whitehair, and Eddie Jackson, 3 players that were Bears the last time this team won. That's no small thing. So I don't know if it's their Super Bowl. I think it's still too early because it is week 1, but I do see what you're getting at with like approaching it with a sort of playoff intensity because my God, that like the fans at Soldier Field are going to think it's a playoff game.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they have to.
Where I'm going to judge the coach because you have to prepare your team that it is that. Yes. And you have to use that. Before you came on, we were talking about third down situations. As Bears fans, we've gone to the stadium. In fact, I've been there, and people on third down are sitting down. It felt so corporate. I'm like, I got a whole section 306 up and was yelling at people, and we ended up blowing out Tampa. That was Mitch's day, if you remember that game.
Oh boy,
we had 6 touchdowns, but you have to get the fans involved, and the coach has to tap into that. I don't know where you are. There's so much I want to ask you, and we go grinding through this stuff, but where are you with Coach Eberflus so far? Are you just at the same place, like at the high dive, looking down, questioning if you're going to dive in yet? Is that where you are?
I think that there's a lot you can take away from the first year and the buy-in element to the hits principle, to the way that the guys that they went after in free agency, the players that they brought in. There's a certain level of respect that Matt Eberflus deserves for the moves that they made. I mean, nobody was set up for success last year, but to get through that and to like weed out guys who didn't fit the system, say goodbye to them without any emotion tied to it, and then building around players that you think can be a fit long-term or longer term, and going out and being aggressive, getting Unique Ngakoue, who's the best free agent pass rusher available at the time. Like those were moves that not only reflect on the front office, but reflect on the coaching staff. I still think with Eberflus, though, because of the way that last season ended, particularly what was going on with his defense at the end of the year, the jury's still out with that. Like, I think he can coach for sure, but I want to see, what I'll judge it on is the course of let's see what the next 4 weeks, the first 4 games look like as far as defensive, like schematic adjustments.
Yes.
I was moderating a panel in Minneapolis in the summertime, and a current Viking offensive lineman was a guest speaker at it. So we had a long talk afterwards, and I was asking him just about he asked me, he's like, what do you think Eberflus? I was like, it's kind of hard. Like, I was there for a year with him. Like the first year it was tough because it was a hard season for everybody. But I asked specifically about like the rush plan. He's like, yeah, we knew what they're doing every single time. We know like when like the defensive ends lined up on the shoulder like of the tackle, like we know exactly what the rush is going to be. That's something that I remember hearing from people who were advanced scouts that I knew that were like coming through. I asked them like, are you seeing this show up on when you're watching this like every single week? And that it felt like it wasn't changing, that it became a very like a very predictable like way that they rush the passer, that want they want to get pressure with their 4-down linemen. That's great, but I think the adapting this year of showing, okay,
it's exactly what we talked about.
You have different personnel now. It's not an excuse of, we've got it like Jaquan Brisker should not lead this team in sacks. Like all of those things, that's what I think you judge a coach on in year 2. Okay. Like the excuse of I'm playing with replacement level players. That's not that he said that, but you guys know what I'm getting at. Like that's no longer, it's null and void. So to see what actual coaching adjustments, what wrinkles he throws in here, what wrinkles Alan Williams throws in, because remember, he calls the defense. Yes, it's Eberflus scheme, and those two were together before, and it's like kind of their collective, their collective work together. But that's what I think you end up judging the coach on in year 2. But I think it's still hard to get a read on him because this team has only won 3 games. And until that number goes up and up considerably, not from like 3 to 4, but like 3 to 8, 3 to 7, that's where I think you can make, a valid argument. Okay, it's working or it's not.
Yeah, if we get into the third quarter and they're not getting any pressure from their front 4 and they're just going to stay with that and not pressure Jordan Love with, blitz him and put pressure on him. But that is this scheme that goes back to Lovie Smith when he was here. And, I loved when Roquan was here. I thought that I'm like, just send this kid. When they actually do blitz him, he gets home. But it's just, you're 100% correct, Courtney. And I'm glad that you brought that up because Phil and I were talking about it right before you got here, is if they're just going to stay true to, we're just going to sit back in our defense. Urlacher and everybody used to talk. They knew what we were doing, but it was, death by a million paper cuts. We're going to give you the 15-play drive because we feel at some point in those 15 plays, you're going to fuck up and we're going to take the ball away and do that. And that's the 3rd and 14, Phil. What's coming against the Bears?
Deep in cut,
right, 19-yard gain, and that's
right in front of the 20-yard depth safeties lined up. I have zero confidence in Alan Williams, but we're gonna watch it. I agree. I said I'm gonna give him 3 games, but I really think there's a huge playoff. You have to have this team like play beyond what they can be in game 1. You just can't lose to I own you not being there and them coming in there. I mean, it's a huge blemish. They could try to paint it any other way, but I will battle back completely on that. And I will defend you too on your shot or no shot.
All training camp, what we've heard is the defense, talking, chirping. You can hear them the entire time. Just away from the field, when you guys are in the locker room talking to these guys and kind of behind the scenes, do you feel that confidence? Do you feel that there's some momentum building for this team, or is it? That is my fear, and we talked about this too. Is that it's just idle bullshit that this is going to fire up the fan base and get everybody excited because they're chirping. Something like that, though, you should feel. You should feel that quiet confidence.
The idea that the defense, that the chirping, the bringing guys together, those were moments that happened in the preseason. And I do remember the Indy practice feeling like the Bears brought the intensity there. It's hard to get an accurate read on it, though, because they've been missing a lot of pieces. Tremaine Edmonds was out most of camp. DeMarcus Walker has the calf injury. He came back, and he had a big setback.
Jaquan.
Jaquan Brisker, Eddie Jackson. Those are things that, like, fortunately for their sake, they're healthy right now. Where I saw it the most, and this is going to sound so cliche, but like watching Justin Fields and DJ Moore together it's honestly really cool because there was such a void of that. Like nobody, even Mooney, like nothing against him, but it's like nothing came close to that where Justin felt like he had somebody who truly has his back. And it's not just like support, but it's like, okay, like that back shoulder throw that he missed, like the first one against Tennessee, like he credited DJ Moore for breaking up that pass. He's like, DJ's the one who didn't cause the interception or caused it to not be an interception. Like he finally has an equal.
Right.
So that's what I think I can like look at and say, all right, that should carry over into the regular season. But the confidence, you hear about this team. I think they weathered a storm. And this is not just, like the stuff from like the defense in the off season during training camp, but it's mostly these guys went through a lot last year. And I do think it's like, all right, we're finally to the other side of this. Like when you go through something like that and it's a struggle to come to work every day because you're going to get your ass handed to you by whoever you're playing. And there were a lot of guys, who were checked out. I remember Justin Jones was talking about it where, they didn't want guys like that in the locker room. And even like you just really got a good read on how the defensive line felt about things when Dominique Robinson talked about it. And Justin Jones has never been shy to share how he really feels about things. And I think a lot of his comments were pointed at a couple players who are no longer on this roster, not Travis Gibson, but like other players before that. And I look at it where they feel like a closer team this year, and they felt close in moments last year, but my God, going 3-14, you're in survival mode at the end of the year. So anything that doesn't feel like that is going to feel infinitely better when everybody's on the same playing field in the off season. How they respond though against Green Bay, if there's, a busted coverage, if there's a fumble, if there's a bad snap, like all of those little things, do they have the fortitude with each other to be able to recover from those things and move on to the next play?
Great point.
With that.
That is a great point. Togetherness was never there. Speaking of which, I have two guys that I question. First, I felt like Travis Gibson deserved to be on this football team. Did you see the disconnect there? Is this more of a personality? Because I don't buy into scheme as a coach. He could play defensive end for a 4-3. Let's get on the edge of a shoulder and rush that's bullshit, number one. And then the other one is the weirdest guy in the room. I've never heard of 2 calf strains in my life. One day he's fine. What is this story of Tevin Jenkins? So Trevis and Tevin to me.
Trevis thing, I think some of that's political. He was not like Ryan Poles has his guys, Matt Eberflus have their guys on this roster. Like the guys who were their holdovers, like they've already extended Cole Kmet, but the jury's still out as to whether they're going to do that for Jalen Johnson, who they want to see those interception numbers go up. I don't blame them. They want to see, if you're a cornerback, no matter if you shadow a number one receiver or not, like they need to see more than one career interception before they pay you. That's just the nature of doing business in today's NFL. They're not going to pay you if you don't have those numbers up. And with Mooney, they want to see him get that speed back and make sure the ankle's not an issue. But they've already extended Cole Kmet. Like there's still other players from the previous regime that are here, but I never felt like they were sold on, just the way that like his contract, the PPEs, the way that thing escalated, their move of cutting him was them saying, and he went and claimed, like, sorry, we don't believe that the production matches the base salary that we would owe you this year. We're willing to take on the dead cap or any sort of penalty to move on from you. Same thing with Kindle Vildor. And that's okay. That's a move. That's a not emotional move. The thing about him never coming to his office, Ryan Poles said, never came to his office to request a trade. I don't think that trade request came out of it, like nowhere. I think Jeremy Fowler probably heard that from the agent. And that's leverage. Like, hey, they said we can seek a trade. Like, okay, is there anybody that's willing to trade for him? Because at that point, 3 days before cutdown day, the guy's probably going to clear waivers and be fine. Like,
Right.
fine to move on, and he's, all the guarantees go away, all that stuff. But that's what I think about that. I don't buy in. Oh, he's a better fit in a 3-4 than he is in a 4-3. Maybe, but I think they had their guys. Terrell Lewis was one of their guys, and he ended up getting cut because they saw.
He's still a free agent.
Yeah,
he's not even on a practice squad.
Opportunity to,
I don't understand the Green and the Khalid Kasim.
What do you not understand about Green? I mean, the guy has a ton of experience. You don't understand how they played him in the preseason, the lack thereof.
I don't see that he's a starting defensive end. Now, obviously, Yannick, or how do we say it? Yannick.
But a lot of people pronounce it wrong. So I think it kind of goes with whatever anybody wants to pronounce it.
I won't forget it now because of you. I think of a commercial. Unique. So chic. Anyway, and then I got the other side is going to be Walker, right? He's going to be the other defensive end. Robinson, young kid, as Shane says, he's got a high ceiling. There's talent there, right? I get that. Green, Trevis Gibson completely outplayed. You put him on Front Street and he gave you the FU. That's the kind of prick, as you put it, Ryan Poles, you want on your football team. And I felt like that was another wrong move. In my opinion, he outperformed Green. And we'll see how this Green reminds me of Izzy Adonijah or Corey Wooten type of guy. You bring in, it's 2nd and 8, and they hold the edge and they make a tackle, and then they're out on 3rd downs because they don't give you a pass rush. That's what I see there. I don't get this whole thing. But to your point, it becomes their guys, which is politics to me, and I just have no place for that.
Football will never be devoid, though, of that. And I know that it can be frustrating because there are a lot of fans why is Rasheem Green not playing in the preseason yet? He's further ahead in the depth chart than Terrell Lewis and Trevis Gibson. And I think that it's the experience element. It's the run defense that they really, really appreciate with him. I mean, he's been with Seattle, he's been with Houston, and they were using him differently in Houston. So they had to kind of retrain him to do some things here. And he'll do the dirty work up front.
Yeah.
I think that's a guy that they wanted as a backup that they brought in this offseason. They evaluated him. They picked him. A lot of that stuff, I know it sounds frustrating where it's just pick the best player. Well, in their eyes, they did. And that's what they've gone with. So there's that on that. And on the Tevin Jenkins. It's bizarre. So we're in Indianapolis. He talks. Injured players don't talk. So he talks on the Thursday. And then, Sunday night, Monday, find out, okay, he's injured. And I remember I checked in on it. And I was told leg injury. Then, of course, we hear from Adam Schefter on NFL Live. He said 2 calf strains. So it goes from leg injury to 2 calf strains. I don't know. It's unfortunate because when we were talking to him that day and I went back and looked at this, he was talking about finally getting through camp and feeling healthy. He had the one day where maybe it was a stinger, maybe it was something else. He ends up leaving for a practice and ends up not practicing the next day, but came back. He thought it's serious enough where he's going to be on IR, but Poles said that it's not serious enough to where he's going to be designated for return. But gosh, I mean, it just shows you it's really hard to stay healthy in this league, especially when you're an offensive lineman playing at a certain size. I mean, that's hard.
We talked about it a little bit. 33 career games. He's played in 19 of them. Mm-hmm. And only 11 of those, he's been over 50% of the snaps. And I mean, 50% of the snaps is a pretty low bar anyway, when you think about it. And I'm not sold on the fact, Courtney, we had Alex Shapiro on with us during the offseason when we were going over the roster and stuff. And I told him, I have Jenkins written in pencil because I just don't know. And he's like, what do you talking about? Tevin Jenkins is, a huge part. I said, I understand they want him to be a big part of it, but he's unreliable. I'm not sold that Tevin is, even when he gets back, he might not. I'm not saying that they're going to release him, but I don't think this is the thing where they're going to usher him right back in to the starting lineup if this group is
right.
If it's
that you're right
settled on. and they're doing things, because to me it doesn't make any sense. And I mean, Tevin isn't a guy that I'm going to release, but he's also a guy. Again, he's still he is a zero. He is a non-factor in me improving my roster. He's just there. You know what I mean? That's how I move. Uber talented, very different person. I mean, I guess that's probably
he's a weird person. That's what it seems to be. It makes you pause to the timeline that Courtney's given you. Listen, nobody wanted Tevin Jenkins on the team more than I did.
During the draft,
and I felt like he was a tackle, and that's where he should have played. The whole drama of all of this stuff is snowballing into this situation here that doesn't make any sense. Is it something personal that happened in his life and they're hiding it? I'm so tired of all this offensive line shake. Now, is Cody Whitehair the left guard? Is he center? Have they announced anything yet? It
seems like
he'll be left guard, and I think that's more of a tell on they feel like Lucas Patrick is a better center than he would be at guard. So it's not okay, move Cody back, then try like Lucas Patrick at guard. It's Lucas Patrick is better as a center in their eyes.
He is, so that I would agree.
So that's what they're sticking with.
Oh, it's this story of the offense. Where are you with Mo? I see Mo and I want to go. I want to leave the room. Me and my dad breaking. I know they praise him. Maybe I just don't see it. And that's really, again, I just keep it real with the fans here. And people are like, you hate the Bears. So I know what you're talking about, Courtney, but I'm being realistic here. I just have not seen the development. I get concerned with these types of moves. If leave Whitehair and find yourself a guard. Didn't you trade for Feeney? Or is Feeney now the right guard? He's starting there.
Here.
No, Nate Davis.
Nate Davis is the guard. Feeney is your backup center right now. It was a smart move. People are like, oh, why'd they give up a 6th-round pick? Like, that's a smart move.
No, that was a good move.
For somebody who's had 17, 18, 19, 21, 6 years of experience. Like, that's a very wise move by Ryan Poles to do that. But Chris Morgan can't prevent injuries. I will give him the benefit of the doubt there, but I do think that they've had some really unfortunate situations where the injuries have really held them back in finding out the potential of this offensive line. Yeah, Braxton Jones has developed. When you have one bright spot on an offensive line that you can really hang your hat on, say, hey, look, we took this guy from an FCS school. He played every snap last year. He's, improving. He's, working to get better against a bull rush. I think that's still, I love hearing him talk about it because he's so honest. Braxton Jones, that is, talking about how he's worked on his hands and all this stuff. Yeah. But, with Chris Moore, there's so much shuffling and he's not going to, I could tell he was not thrilled. When we're talking to him, 2 weeks ago, just about the situation with the offensive line, nobody is. You have all this continuity and then one injury causes a domino effect down and up the line. It sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks in that situation. And, backups are backups. Nobody has 9 offensive linemen on their roster, but everybody can.
Yeah.
No.
Everybody's short in the NFL on the offensive line.
Nobody's heavy at that position where we'll just trade you somebody. So the Miami trade, it's a really good one because you're trading for depth and somebody who, because Borum's a swing tackle and having Dan Feeney and Jatari Carter in those positions, it's better than a bad. It's making the most of a bad situation where you had so many injuries to deal with. But I don't think I'm not ready. I wouldn't throw the towel in on Chris Morgan just yet. Of course, like you've got to see how the season plays out when you get guys who can play a fully healthy season and that you don't have, last year was a mishmash of guys put together. And there were players who should not have been playing. Obviously, had Lucas Patrick not gotten hurt, he ends up keeping his job because they made the decision to move on from, at that moment, Sam Mustipher, like, oh wait, psych, like you're back in because he's hurt. Like they were dealing with what they had, and sometimes
there's like a hex. I call it the Bermuda Center Triangle in Chicago. Since Olin, like every time
when they were on the clock in the second round, we all thought that they were going to go with Schmitz.
Mm-hmm.
Live that night, John Michael Schmitz. Yeah,
I'm excited for him. I think he's got a good opportunity with the Giants.
Oh yeah, for
my
sure.
boy though, also Olu is going to be starting with the Seahawks. Yeah. I wanted this kid from Michigan, and listen, the center position, the offensive line. It seems
stay there on the offensive line, and this is making us go back. And I should have asked you this when we had you on before. No, I know.
In here.
Darnell Wright, Courtney, do you think that if let's just go back to draft night. If Paris Johnson was on the clock and Darnell Wright was available, do you still think that the Bears are going with Darnell Wright?
God, it's a tough question because think about how much they invested in him in the process.
I feel like he was their top guy no matter what. That's my thought.
Kind of everything. Like they didn't have these other private workouts with guys. Yep. Darnell Wright, from what they saw, and it's Paris Johnson was the first offensive lineman off the board in Arizona. I going back at it, I think they would have gone Darnell Wright every chance they would have had, no matter who was there. And of course, we'll judge them on the pick that was taken after them, Peter Skoronski, and how he pans out. And it's always that case when you have in context matters. Like number 9, Jalen Carter, if he ends up being a first team all pro and all this stuff, of course there's going to be some buyer's remorse, but they were not in a position the way that the Eagles were to insulate him, to make sure that he was, they don't have veteran defensive line the way the Eagles do. Like they don't have,
right.
They don't have the carte blanche that Howie Roseman does. They didn't go to the Super Bowl. So, but that will always come into context where you have to have the but like telling that story of it if he ends up being a better pick than who you chose at 10, but 11 is fair. If they have that conversation of, wow, Darnell Wright did this, Peter Skoronski did this. They're always going to be judged within the same context of each other because of where they were drafted, and that one player was on the board that the Bears passed over that they seemingly liked quite a bit.
I would have taken Darnell Wright too.
I know you were on the Darnell Wright thing I got to give you credit on that. You were on that for a while. Yes, we were talking about that right around the time of the draft. I had just heard some things that I was, we didn't know about the private workout at the time, but I had heard some things of like, okay, like, is he the right fit from, is he mature enough? Like all those things,
He's very aloof for sure. It seems like, which is fine. Yeah.
He's immature.
Nasty edging games where he can drive guys back to the second level, aloofness or not, they will put up with that.
I'm excited to see him.
If you watch
real quick
before the rookie capsule when they were talking to him, that was a trip. Oh my God! I'm like, yikes, that was weird. But go ahead.
We've kept her for a long time, and I thank you so much for your time. If you're just tuning in, the great Courtney Cronin of your Chicago Bears. She is the beat reporter. She also writes. I was going to ask you a question about that, but I don't want you to stay too long. Next time, I got to ask you a question about you writing. But is there one guy that you have pegged that's going to surprise a lot of Bears fans that, from your point of view, on this season coming up, or somebody that we should keep an eye on?
And why is it Trenton Gill? Go ahead.
I don't know if this is a surprise, but I just think that Roschon Johnson, and I've maintained this, I think he's going to play his way into
number 23 Roschon Johnson now.
That was so bizarre today. I'm like taking attendance. Where's 30?
Yeah. It happened. They put it out on the app last night, the updated numbers. Yeah, I tweeted it out, and when I've been on it since they drafted him. Like, oh, no, I was not a fan of 30 on the running back. I'm like, come on, man, switch that number.
I felt bad for him. He put it on his Instagram, like a picture of his new jersey. He's like, sorry to anybody who bought my jersey. Poor guy. No, I mean, I think he's going to play his way into being the starting running back in that group. They're going to go by committee, but they didn't draft him in the 4th round to keep him as like a backup running back. He's going to end up playing his way. And he's
franchise pillar.
Franchise
pillar.
Very talented player.
Wait, before you go, do you have a prediction for this Sunday?
I don't actually have to do a formal prediction like writing wise this year. Because those are always like, people are annoying about those where they like take a score and I'm like, I'm not giving you betting advice. I'm just telling you like one way or the other. I think the Bears will win. I think they are.
There you go.
Right now, barring anything else, yeah, there's a lot of unknowns with 2 teams, but this is an emotional game and an emotional rivalry. And that's a lot of unknowns for a quarterback who has 1 career start under his belt. Yeah, do they have a better pass rush? 100%. And they're going to throw, like what everybody was saying today, Matt Eberflus, about, they're going to throw everything at Darnell Wright. Yeah, they are. But, like, that's not going to be the only thing that the Bears have to worry about up front. I think it'll be a close game. It might be – I would love for this to be like a 24-21 game, just, down to the wire, field goal ends it. Bears-Packers rivalry, the rivalry.
Courtney's trying to kill us. We want a nice, easy Bears win.
Trust me, it'd be easier if it was a blowout for me as a writer. Yeah. Then you're not like on deadline freaking out, having like 5 versions of a story ready to go. But no, I think the Bears will end up winning this game on Sunday.
There you go. One of her
Twitter rejoices.
7 to 8 wins.
Give her some props. Smash the like button and follow her on all her social medias. You see her on Around the Horn, Pardon the Interruption, everything now. I already told her privately, there's big things for this woman. She's tremendous.
Yeah, and major props, Courtney, when you were talking about your grandmother. That was...
Thank you.
Yes.
A lot of... I didn't have to go through that, but when I announced on here that my son had cancer, 10 years old at the time, it's not easy to talk about stuff like that, but I found it strangely therapeutic after I was done speaking about it. But I watched it like 3 or 4 times, you speaking on your grandmother, and wow, that was very inspirational and just speaks to you as a person, how strong you are, because that was amazing, and I'm glad you got that opportunity to do that for her.
Yeah, it was it's been it was weird summer, rough summer, but that was you're right. It's like weirdly therapeutic. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to hold it together, but we somehow made it work. And you're doing that in a 15-second FaceTime too. Was
yeah.
I guess I just kind of blacked out and just did it. So I mean, you just kind of go and you talk from the heart, and it was so it was good. I was glad I got to honor her that way.
For sure.
Well, you are awesome and amazing at the same time. We truly love you and appreciate you, and we'll have you back, obviously, during the season.
Yeah, you got to let me know about what the in-person event is this year, because I'm very
excited. It's going to be in the city.
Yes.
I see Jim in the chat, and we're going to have it at his office building downtown Chicago, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We just have to set the date. Me and Shane. Finally, Shane's going to
Larry Mayer is going to be the MC.
Oh, man. That's going to be
hell no.
Everybody in bed by 8 p.m.
We're going to have a DJ there. It's going to be fun.
It'll be great.
You're going to we're going to play your new intro.
Yes.
There as well.
We'll unveil it there.
No, we won't unveil it next time she's here, but we play it there. Oh, you're the best. Follow her. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Of course. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Watch Suits. Let me know what you think. I'm all binging Suits.
Queue.
What's that?
We'll add it to my queue on Netflix.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And the many other shows that I still have to catch up on. But I will get to it at some point. You're not the only one who's told me it's a great show, so I believe you.
Did you finish Power? Do I still remind you?
Yes, that was January. I think I finished 6 seasons in maybe like 2 months. but I'm not on like books 1. I'm not on any of the books yet. And I keep seeing the ads for the Tommy book 4, I think, but I needed a break. After that, I needed like therapy and I needed a long break from Power. But great show, nonetheless. A great show.
You're the best, Courtney. We'll talk to you soon. Go Bears. She does predict the Chicago Bears to win. The great Courtney Cronin, Shane. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to follow, Green Bay this week because we didn't bring it up with her, but Watson and Dubs didn't practice today with hamstring issues.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah, if those are new injuries, that they could be on a downward trajectory for the weekend game, but we'll see how that goes. But no, I'm looking forward to it, and gotta win it though. Gotta win it.
She's saying it too. I mean, that's where it is, and the Bears. I mean, every fan should be so excited. And if I like the question that you let out with me, because I think there is 2 lanes: excited, and nervous. I think those things, and I guess there's a 3rd lane with some guys. I guess
Bears suck.
Oh, okay, that's the 4th lane.
Yeah.
So there's 4 lanes. There's the Bears fucking suck. And no way. That's probably inundated with Packers fans. And then there's the meatball that's really kind of, we're fucking winning. I just can't get in that lane. I am in the nervous lane. Yep. I'm not even excited.
There's a lot riding on it. I hear. I'm glad because it's back. I mean, you get your football fix with college football being back, and we'll have a game tomorrow night, but I'm right there with you, man. I'm nervous as somebody is knocking at my door. So let me go. I will be right back.
I'll be back, he says. I am in the nerve. What says you? What says you? Are you in the nervous category? Are you going to be my game day? Well, now my game day is different because I got to coach every morning on Sundays, but my game day is now anxiety. I probably eat very little. I'll have a coffee and then a light breakfast, and then I'm getting nervous. I normally don't eat lunch most of the times when the Bears are at that 1 o'clock, or for you people in the Midwest or wherever you are, I don't eat during the game. I get so nervous for the Bear. I mean, these are the rituals of when you care about it. And all of us that are paying attention to the show, every TTNL person knows that the passion and the pride of this game, of this team, is going to be on full display come Sunday at home, Soldier Field, Fox's game of the week. You're going to have, I guess, who's the Fox team now, guys? Is it Greg Olsen and Brian Burkhart? Is that the number 1 team? They'll be doing the game because obviously Aikman and Buck gratefully moved to Monday Night Football. So is it going to be Burkhart and Burkhart and Greg Olsen returning, talking about his experience?
See that with Aikman? I just
hang
on it. He almost came out of retirement to play for the Dolphins. What did they say in 2003? I think it was.
Really?
Yeah.
I always love those stories. Like,
yeah.
What would have happened if Cutler didn't go back to the Dolphins? He would have been on broadcast TV.
Yeah.
I heard he's going to be on NFL not Showtime now. With
Chad Johnson on Inside the NFL, right?
Inside the NFL. That's on a new network now.
Yeah.
On like a cable. Was it TBS or some shit like that?
Yeah, it's something. I forget exactly where it is, but yeah, it's not. I mean, back in the day, it used to be on HBO. Inside the NFL with Nick Bonacani, and
that guy's voice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Chicago Bears take it to. He had that deep
Raymond Harris had 40 carries for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns last week.
And then you would hear that guy's inside the NFL voice for like a commercial too.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Those were back in the days, though. You just looked forward to the highlight. You know what I mean? That was
my God.
the highlights,
These
you know?
kids don't even know the struggle.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
They don't even know the motherfucker. I negotiated myself at 16 or 17 years, well, almost 17, into sports bars in New Haven, just so I could watch Bears preseason games, because they had those giant dishes that would be able to get whatever Fox or CBS, whatever the fuck it was in Chicago.
Angelo eats ice cream out of those things now.
Imagine someone taking shots at us for cheering and rooting for the Bears in another state.
Yeah, I mean, that's not why they created NFL Sunday Ticket, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, for at all.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah, there's just yeah. So weird.
Also, imagine the struggle. Like if you live in another state, like Mike V right here, Sports Haven. I know exactly what he's talking about because I had to pay the $30 for my table with a fucking TV, a 13-inch motherfucking TV, to watch the Bears at Sports Haven that he's talking about in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah.
To go those lengths to get a glimpse of your team, win or lose. Oh my God. That's even more the luxury that I feel some of these people that were lucky enough to grow up in Chicago to not have to pay for the Sunday ticket, not have to struggle to find highlights of the Bears, what happened. I always tell the story about just watching the lower ticker.
Hey, real quick, it's Ryan Clark, Chad Johnson, and Jay Cutler.
There you go. 3. Did you find out what station it was on? But I was at Hofstra.
On the CW.
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 Yep. But there you go, CW. I would watch with anxiety. I still can remember Tim Worley was our tailback. Right? And he was from the Steelers, and I'm sitting there, and the Bears are playing the Chiefs in Kansas City. Kansas City had turf.
Yeah.
And you're just staring at the lower ticker while the Jets are on TV in Long Island.
Yeah.
And you're just hoping the score changed from 14-10, and then all of a sudden it's 17-14 Bear, and you're like, yes, let's go. How much time? We didn't have all that shit. It was a fight. So those people that are fans across the pond that stay up, I would never take a shot at or question your fandom ever. The struggle to love your team is universal and real.
If you're not from Chicago and you love the Bears, that's even more impressive.
Exactly.
In my book.
Imagine loving the Bears in New England country.
Yeah.
You beat us in 85, but we've got a dynasty, you fuck. And what do I say to that? What can I say to that? Can't.
I hear you.
Say anything. But we've said a lot tonight, Shane.
I hear you. Yeah.
We wanted to do bold predictions.
Yeah, we probably do. And I do have one tweet for tonight that I think is important. So we can.
Do you have
roll
the tweet? Do we have the tweet? Don't we have music down here? There we go.
Yeah, there it is.
Let me see if I can hear it. Now I can hear it. Can you hear me on the other end?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not breaking up or anything, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me make it up off the top of my head. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Phil isn't prepared tonight. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not prepared, but he is the smartest man. If you're lucky enough to capture a great movie or want to see one, check out Ronin. What a great night.
Yeah, absolutely.
With
but yeah,
our girl, Courtney Cronin. He's the smartest man. And these are his dumb or dumbest tweets of the week.
Well, we're gonna do just one good one this week. We're gonna stay positive because I kind of alluded to the other one. But yeah, so this is from at Max Markham NFL. He compiled a list, and it was titled "Where Are They Now? Chicago Bears 2022 Starters." And this is when you say that the Bears aren't going to be any better, and this is we just got to take a look back so we can look forward. So linebacker Nick Morrow, 17 starts for the Bears last year. Where is he now? The Philadelphia Eagles practice squad. Offensive lineman Sam Mustipher played in 17 games with 16 starts. Where is he? Baltimore Ravens practice squad. Defensive lineman Al-Qadim Muhammad, 16 games with 9 starts. Colts practice squad. Linebacker Joe Thomas, 15 games, 9 starts last year. He's a free agent and currently not on a team in the NFL. Offensive lineman Michael Schofield, 11 games, 4 starts. Free agent. Defensive lineman Robert Quinn, 7 games, 7 starts. Free agent. Yeah. DeAndre Houston Carson, 17 games, 6 starts, currently a free agent. Mike Pennell, 17 games, 2 starts, free agent. Offensive tackle Riley Reif, 16 games, 10 starts, currently the second string, now on IR for New England. Defensive tackle Armon Watts, 17 games, 12 starts for the Bears last year, currently third string in Pittsburgh. Defensive end Trevis Gibson, 17 games, 10 starts, second string in Tennessee. Defensive lineman Angelo Blackson, 15 games, 4 starts, currently second string in Jacksonville. Linebacker Matthew Adams, 10 games, 3 starts, Browns, second string. Wide receiver Byron Pringle, 11 games, 4 starts, second string wide receiver in Washington. And then we finish it up with cornerback Kendall Vildor, 11 games, 9 starts, and currently third string corner in Tennessee.
What?
So exactly. So when you look back at those guys being a huge part of what you were doing every single week last year, and how many of them were free agents, nobody is starting anywhere. You know, there's third string, there's some second string, a lot of practice squad, a lot of free agents that aren't even in the NFL. Yeah, that's called roster turnover. That's Ryan Poles doing it the way that it should have been done. And can the Bears shock the world? I'm not going to count against them.
Can't count it out.
Yeah,
it all starts Sunday morning.
Yeah, it does. It does. So, but I thought that was a good tweet. So shout out to Max for compiling that list, but it just shows you where we've come from and hopefully is a positive sign to where we're headed. And like you said, it all starts on Sunday.
Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? That's what those guys are doing now. Oh my God. You're giving me flashbacks to that mud bath of a defensive line.
Yeah.
A river rapid linebacker core.
Well, but just, I mean, last year, Phil, we were excited when the Bears claimed Armon Watts. We're like, oh, there's some things there to like. I was excited about Nick Morrow. You know, Philly signed him and cut him, and now he's on the practice squad. Yeah, and I mean, out of all of the moves, Roquan you traded, and he got the extension in Baltimore, and he's obviously the cornerstone in the middle of their defense. But beyond that, I wouldn't trade what we got back in the Roquan trade.
Oh,
I wouldn't.
Hell.
No, so that's a positive for Chicago. But this is a roster that isn't done, expanding by any means. But there's been a lot of upgrades, even though there's not a lot of experience on this roster.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking for the song, Shane. I can't find bold prediction. Where's Cherie? Where is she? Do you see it?
Yeah, it's got to be right there. Hold on. We have so much stuff here now.
I know.
Like we've been.
Yes!
That's not it.
Nope! Nope!
No. I don't think we have it.
Someone took it off?
I know I didn't.
Oh my God. I guess we can't start
maybe,
the segment.
Maybe somebody drafted it in the fantasy football draft. Yep.
Phil, could you hear me? This is your dad speaking. Can you hear me? I'm in space. I'm in space.
We play the whole clip of I'm in space. He misses the show and the fan. He will be back.
Yes, he will be.
Probably be back on BHL, make an appearance this weekend, Shane.
Yeah, hopefully we're in a good mood when we see Kojo.
We're in a good mood. We'll have to get the bold prediction song back, but this will make our predictions. You make your predictions with us, Shane. I don't know where the beautiful Lady Bear went.
I think she is currently in the middle of drafting. That's what she said about 2 minutes ago.
Focus on us, Cherie, not that stupid draft.
So this is going to be our bold prediction for the game, correct?
Bold prediction. So you got to predict and make one bold prediction.
Yep.
Claudio is not here, so
I am going to choose the Chicago Bears. Probably going to upset a lot of people here, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to upset a lot of people in Wisconsin because we're fucking winning.
Yes.
The Bears start the season off unblemished. 1-0. Chicago 24. Green Bay 17. The Bears are the victors. My bold prediction is what, Phil? 3 touchdown passes from Justin Fields in Chicago to quiet some of the critics.
The critics
in week 1.
3 touchdowns by Justin Fields passing.
Yes, passing.
Past the line of scrimmage passing?
Doesn't matter as long as they're touchdown passes, Phil.
Exactly.
I'll take 42, behind the line of scrimmage.
Though,
yeah.
Yeah.
Bukowski would be like, yeah, but none of them went forward, even though they're touchdowns. Well,
the screen don't count. We'll take all of Brett Favre's 1,400 screen passes.
24-17. Chicago wins. 3 touchdown passes from Justin Fields.
I love
what
it.
What say you?
What says me? I am in the same place. I'm going with my heart here. I am nervous for the game. I'm excited on the back end of those nerves, obviously. But for me, if I am going to pick it, I am picking the Chicago Bears 28. The Green Bay Packers 13. 28-13.
I thought I was going bold with the 17. So Phil is a big Alan Williams fan, obviously.
I'm a big fan of this secondary. So I'm seeing a couple interceptions against Jordan Love. But I won't go there with my bold prediction. The Bears, what did I say? 28-13, right?
28-13.
28-13, Jackal. Write that down while you're doing your draft, bro. My bold prediction, the Chicago Bears will line up in the I formation to start the game, and Justin Fields will throw a deep ball down the field, Shane. on the first play of the game.
15.
There was no rhyme.
Next play.
There they are.
Compliments of Mr. Larison.
Look at that. We got the bold predictions. We got it in the background.
Your prediction?
I'm predicting, Phil.
The old line is playing shitty.
Oh, okay.
And find it Bears receiver with the enemy. Red zone opportunity. Once again, they gotta settle for 3. The reality of coaching when the defense has to carry the team. Prediction. What you think?
All right, we got it.
I missed that, Shane. Going up on the first play of the game, it will not be a handoff to Khalil Herbert for 1.
Are they going to do it, Phil?
Deep ball down the field for a touchdown, Shane, to Darnell Mooney to set the stage. There's my bold prediction. It's not going to be Jay Moore. He's going to be the meat, the bait. He's going to be the bait down the right side. Mooney's going down left. Justin looks it up, throws deep to Mooney. Touchdown, Bears.
Makes sense. Everybody in the crowd will think it's going to DJ. That's for sure. So
that would be my first call, bro. Seriously.
My bold prediction in those 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
One of them is going to be a 32-yard touchdown to who?
Cole Kmet, your guy.
Chase Claypool.
Claypool.
Yes.
And you predicted 32-yard touchdown.
32 yards to Claypool.
There you go. There you go. Joey N is predicting a pick 6. First play, Jordan Love. Listen, Joseph is picking Blazing Game to the house. I would pay for that bet. Where's Brett Mailey on that bet? That would be a prop bet. First touchdown for the Chicago Bears. Who's it going to be?
First touchdown?
Yeah. Who scores the first? I obviously think it's Darnell Mooney.
No, I'm going to say it's DJ Moore.
DJ Moore.
Yeah. I'm not going to go too crazy.
How is he picking Darnell Wright with a TD?
I don't know. Spencer's
tackle
got some,
pass.
Yeah. He's got some of that hippie lettuce for dinner, I guess. Santa pulling out Santa's sleigh to Darnell Wright.
If he gets Darnell Wright,
he wasn't
coming on the plane after Dallas. So messed.
Yeah, coming on the plane. I gotta hear this one to make this show complete. It's been a great show tonight. We have the great Courtney Cronin of ESPN breaking it down with us. We talked a lot about everything Chicago Bears and more. Johnny Manziel stories were in there and other stuff. Smash the like button, guys. Do us that favor. Also, obviously, the season is kicking off. TTNL is going to be kicking off. The tapeneverlies.com. Sign up, become a patron. Obviously, you support Shane and myself and our families and all the work that we put in. We'll be live on BHL right after Bears versus Packers.
Waiting for
Phil.
He's overwhelmed.
Give me
some fucking names.
Every week we're gonna understand the
Give me
fucking
some
why.
fucking names.
Bears Hour Live right after the final whistle of Bears Packers this Sunday, 4:25 East. That's the kick. 3:25 in the Midwest.
Jeepers creepers.
That's right. Jeepers creepers. Let's get it to shout outs before I got to play. Where is the one drop I need to hear before we play the song, Shane? I had it. Oh, God. I got to do what I got to do is what I was looking for. But let's go to shout outs. Where is that? There it is.
Shout out Tape Never Lies. Shout out. I know you hear me, baby. Shout out. I know you see me, baby. Shout out. We gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew. Gotta show love too. Shout out. I know you hear me, baby. Shout out. I know you see me, baby. Shout out. We gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew. Gotta show love. From the fans in the stands to the follows on the gram. Thanks for your support, showing love in the DM. We stay Spencer strong, fight together till the end. Now it's time to shout out worldwide friends and fam. Like
the network that keeps it real, 100 crew. So many in the world that I gotta show love to. But some this policy, the show is at its end. But for me it's so important to thank the charter members and the fans. Built the network, speak the truth through the tape. Never run around the truth, no narratives we create. Set them straight, no bubble screen on 4th and 8. Audio Jane getting nervous cause keeping them up too late. That's it, no more to say they get the shot of vital. But hurry up cause the postman's getting homicidal.
Shout out. I know you hear me, baby. Shout out. I know you see me, baby. Shout out. We gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew. Gotta show love too. Shout out. I know you hear me, baby. Shout out. I know you see me, baby. Shout out. We gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew. Gotta show love too.
The network that keeps it real. Spencer Strong.
Then let me do what I hired to do.
There it is. They let me do what I gotta do. Tonight, we were doing what we gotta do. Shout out to my boy Cool Kennedy with the production of the shout out song and all of the music here on TTNL Network. We're more than just a network, we're a family. Those of you that have seen the generosity, the compassion, the empathy, and the passion, you understand it. Never once will we say don't watch something or don't do something. However, we will be critical of those some things that are fraudulent. That's what we do here. We keep it 100. You don't like it, we're not here to raise your kids. We're here to talk Bears, have some laughs, maybe debate how bad or overrated Tupac is, or whatever it is. We will talk it here live on Keep It at 100. Shane, I know Jackson loves him some hippie lettuce.
Yeah, even though he spelled it wrong, it's fine.
Oh, Mike V, 102-yard kick return for Bayless. Smash the like button. Shane, you have some shout-outs tonight if we can go to bed.
Gonna shout out my two kids. I'm glad that they're back. Got to pick them up from the airport on Sunday. And, you know, no matter how dark those storm clouds are, you kids can always, you know, send through some sunlight through those dark clouds no matter what. And I'm glad they're back. I'm glad that I can go up and hug and kiss them. And it was a long 3 weeks without them for sure, but they're back. Getting back in the groove of Emerson going back to daycare and Riley back to school. So you know how that is, but I'm just glad that they're back here with me and get to see them and move forward. And things are a changing, like they said. What did they say in that Hope Floats movie? Beginnings are scary, endings are always sad, but it's the middle that what counts. And we're on to finding our new middles, and we're gonna do that and have a hell of a time doing it. So Emerson, Riley, love you guys with all my heart, and I always will. You can always count on me.
My middle is kind of getting soft. I gotta get my middle. My middle is gotta tighten up my middle. Tonight I was old. Kind of strained my quads, Shane. Very well said by you. Very well said. I see my boy Steph Froyland right there. Gotta shout out our guys Fat. The 2 T's, 1st and 10 tailgate. Steph is coming out from Cali and Hawaii. I don't know where Steph might be now. Go out there, TTNL heads. If you're looking for a place to tailgate, my boys are all out there. Go check them out. Check out Steph. Wear your TTNL gear. Go check them out. 1st and 10 tailgate. I can't remember the street. Can you put that in there, Steph? Or we could give them details. Because I can't think of them off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I'm not from Chicago, Shane. I don't want to get beat up.
Yeah. All good, man.
It's all good in the hood. Listen, I got to shout out every one of you fans that tune in and organize their night around the show and the network. We truly appreciate you. You guys are amazing. Shout out to the fantasy guys that are holding the draft and all. Jokes aside, great stuff.
Logan Frost drafted Jack Sanborn with his 1st-round pick. He's going to play him on offense.
Sanborn is the new Ditka. Jack Sanborn versus a Hurricane.
Trubisky is his quarterback. Yeah, he's gonna crush it.
We got so many of you guys to thank in the chat. I want to also obviously thank Courtney Cronin for being so generous with her time, and really a great discussion and conversation. And she keeps it 100, and she, stands by her thoughts, and so do we here. And that's what makes for a great show. And that's what you're gonna get from this network. No BS, no. Just
head over to iTunes, Phil.
iTunes, we're back.
Subscribe to TTNL with the blue logo, not the white one. Still blue. To have the other one removed, but
blue.
Yeah. Tape Never Lies over on iTunes. Blue logo. Sign up. Leave us a 5-star review.
5.
Do all that. You know it. That helps us out. It's like smashing the like button here. Get over there, subscribe, 5-star review. Tell us why you love the show, why you need the show, why you show up every week. We'd appreciate it.
Give it the 5-star. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the network and the channel. Let's all come together as this season starts. There it is. 1st and 10, 524 South
Wabash
Street, Chicago, Illinois. Get down there. There she is.
God, you guys are picturing the name. The street name is Wabash.
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 Have you ever been to Wawa, the grocery?
I thought it was. Yes, I've been to
Wabash.
Shout out to my coach. My coach, JW Fish. Hopefully he signs that deal with.
All right, Cherie.
Cherie, you have a shout out prediction as well. Catch us up quick.
What was her first pick?
I had the number 12 pick in the 1st round. I'm so mad at
Bayless. You took Bayless.
No, I took CeeDee Lamb.
Took CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah,
he's on my team too, Cherie.
Your whole draft talk has no credibility. You know football, but you don't know draft. I cannot.
Even Courtney gave my team
the fact
props.
that you drafted Aaron Rodgers
first in a keepers league. So I already listen. I was looking at options and I valued that quarterback. I'm gonna keep you abreast of what transpires with my team this season. I believe, listen, as long as he's not with the Packers, he's okay with me. I've always respected the dude's talent. I hated it. I envied it. And
I have him as a QB in my IDP league, but he wasn't my first pick.
So Cherie, who made IDP? Cherie, You got to put people on Front Street. Who made the worst pick so far?
Oh. No, it wasn't Jackal. One of the guys drafted a kicker. I felt like the kicker it's Justin Tucker, but it was early. It was in like the 10th round. I think that was a terrible pick.
Who went first overall?
I don't know all these people.
Just go look. No,
I mean,
what player? What player was selected?
Jefferson, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell her, Joey. I'm draft doctor.
Yes,
you don't
draft
think I know.
NFL. Fantasy football is a whole new game. It ain't about the tape. It's about stat.
I've never played it, and I never will.
Exactly.
I turned my son down today. They're like, Daddy, we need one more for our league. And I'm like, go ask your mother then. I ain't doing it.
He is
Probably
not
could have sent me an invite.
Real quick, Sheree. Bears Packers score.
Oh gosh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Good.
I mean, I've been. Oh gosh. Okay. Of course, I got the Bears winning. Let me take that suspense out. The Bears are gonna win.
Yes.
I'm gonna say we win by touchdown, 24-17.
That was what I picked, Sheree.
Oh,
okay. Could have. I hope it.
You can keep it. What's your bold prediction?
Let me see. I did hear you do the Justin Fields 3 touchdowns, so I can't take that one. Eddie Jackson, 2 takeaways.
Wow. Ted likes it. There you go. Oh my gosh. Shout out Eric Alley. Like, please, bro. Please understand, get a life. Pay attention. Will Brooks tonight was another guy. I don't understand what you're talking about. We don't want feel-good stories. We want wins.
Yeah.
I think we explained this story. I think we explained it. I don't think Will paying attention to the knowledge. He doesn't agree, Shane. That being said, on Monday, Shane, the Super 16 Poll Show. We'll be back with Chris Zorich and myself and Sheree. Are you going to be available? There you go. She's back.
And then
Monday nights.
Keeping It Fantasy is going to be back next week, I believe. Tomorrow night.
Vroom,
vroom, cars, keys is back.
He's a very nice dick that any woman would love. I'm not talking about cars, or maybe I am. Maybe I am.
Tomorrow night.
There you go. Yep, I like it.
Zorich is happy.
On the TTNL airwaves, 8:30 p.m. East, Cars Keys. Cars going to be dropping some knowledge, and I'll be sitting on the sidelines, kind of running the show, and everybody can listen to Cars spitting out facts.
All hail
football.
Lord Cars.
All hail Lord Cars. That's right.
Lord Cars is back tomorrow night. Check that out. BHL right after. Then the season and the network kicks off with all of its coverage, and we'll keep you posted on all of it. For the smartest man and for Lady Bear.
Can I do a shout out before y'all close out?
Oh, yes, please.
Shout out to you two for holding it down because the rest of us abandoned y'all tonight.
See how they are, Phil?
I am so sorry. It's, again, blame Jackal. He planned this. So shout out to y'all for holding it down. And yes, I did listen to all of Courtney's interview. A little disappointed that she showed Greg so much love. But, you know, they went all. So, but I still love Courtney. And it was a good conversation. So shout out to y'all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sheree. That's how we'll wrap it up here. Keeping it 100. Smash the like button. Shout out to all of you. Leave a message. But
we just got some breaking news here, Phil. Where is our breaking news drop?
Breaking news. The Tape Never Lies Network. Breaking news.
Breaking news from Christopher Jackal of TTNL Network. The first ever TTNL Network barbecue has been scheduled for April 25th, 2024, kickoff 7 p.m., which coincides with night one of the NFL draft. So more perfect timing by Chris Jackal. Barbecue and NFL draft at the same time. Great scheduling, sir.
We'll see you all next week. Obviously, talking Chicago Bears versus Packers, looking back and ahead at our next game and all of that. We'll announce who we'll have on the show next week. And thank you to Cherie and everybody else helping in the chat. You guys are the best. Go Bears! Bear down. Let's go. This is
Fuck
it.
those Packers.
What's up, everybody? This is NFL Network's Adam Ray.
This is Only Crooch.
This is Matt Waldman.
This is Chris Zork from your Chicago Bears.
I'm Deion Miller.
Dan Weeder.
Hey, man, it's Rashad Whitfield.
I'm Courtney Cronin.
Hey, this is David Kaplan. Listen to me. You want to learn football? Listen to my guys, Phil and Shane.
Shane and Phil.
Shane and Phil. Oh, Phil.
On the Tape Never Lies Network.
On the Tape Never Lies Network.
Tape Never Lies Network.
The Tape Never Lies Network.
Tape Never Lies Network. Home of the greatest Chicago Bears fans on earth.
At my signal, unleash hell.